Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Rugby World Cup. This one, the second that has taken place for round number 2, and it is between the All Blacks and Namibia. Now the ABs coming off a loss in their first game of Pool A, and the same can be said about the Namibians. So someone is going to get themselves a victory here, and the big question is, who is it going to be? The ABs come into this game as heavy favourites, making wholesale changes in their starting lineup. We will look through at their side now. Ofa Tuangafasi, the starting loose head prop, Samisoni Taukei'aho at 2, and Nepo Olala to slot in as number 3. Now, he did actually start at 3 for the last game up against France. That is due to the Tyrell Lomax knee injury, but he should be back in the near future. Brodie Retallick also returning from injury recently, getting himself the opportunity off the bench in the last game. Sam Whitelock at number 5, so a huge amount of experience there for the All Blacks across their locks to really use it to their advantage in this game. Luke Jacobson starting at number 6, Dalton Papali'i at number 7, and Ardie Savea at number 8. So still no Sam Cane for the ABs, but the back spasms, I believe he's slowly improving, so he may be available in either next week or the weekend after. Cam Roigard getting the start at number 9, the elusive Hurricanes halfback who has been able to get himself some brilliant tries already throughout his short All Blacks career. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the starting lineup, partnering alongside Damian McKenzie at 9-10. Could be very dangerous for the All Blacks here. David Arvili and Anton Leonard-Brown, very similar players in the midfield for this match, resting Rieko Ioane, as well as still giving Geordie Barrett a bit more time to recover. Lester Whainganuku out on the left wing. I believe for the first time ever, it's going to be Caleb Clark out on the right wing, and then Beauden Barrett keeps his spot at number 15. Was kicking quite a lot throughout the last game up against France. Whether or not the ABs decide to use that tactic here up against Namibia will soon be answered. But we've got quite a few people in the chat already. We've got good morning from Novmum. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. I can tell you right now, I missed the first game, Hamish. I woke up like I had a nightmare. Says audio check in there. Yeah, it certainly wasn't the scoreline that a lot of people were anticipating for that first game between the All Blacks and France. I saw that it was going to be a little bit closer, but the All Blacks just weren't quite able to find their momentum in that game. Once again, the discipline has been the thing that has been letting them down lately, alongside those handling errors. So the question is whether or not this younger side, maybe the team of players that some people didn't expect to see in the starting lineup for the big games, could they actually be the guys that can get the job done a bit more efficiently than the older veterans? We have got Winnet in the chat. Has said there, good morning as well, welcome in. And Kia ora from Germany, says Tar. But I should mention the kickoff is only around 27 or so minutes away, ladies and gentlemen. But throughout that time, we're going to be looking through at the stats from round 1 of the Rugby World Cup, looking through at their lineups and a bit of a prediction beforehand of how we see this game going. We can actually see in the background Cody Taylor, Dane Coles, and Taukei'aho all warming up with the line-out throws before this game does take place. Verona has said hi, watching from St. Helena Bay, so welcome in, Verona. Hope you are doing extremely well. Good morning, Brisbane, says Imps there. And also, I have a blood clot in my left leg and put on blood thinners, says Novmum. That doesn't sound too good. Hopefully, it's not too painful for your Novmum. And hi, all, says Richard. And there as well, looking through at this Namibian side. Now, they have also made quite a few changes compared to what we saw in their last game up against Italy, where they did start pretty well, the Namibians, and it was just a little bit unfortunate that as their heat started to kick in a little bit more, as the gas tank started to dwindle, they did slow. But they've still got some very good players throughout this lineup, and I have a feeling that we will see Namibia push the ABs at times throughout this game more than some people may have first anticipated. But it is Jason Bernardi at number 1, Torsten van Jaarsveld at 2, and then Kutsia will be there at number 3. Now, his first name is actually Johannes, but it has got it as A, so I'm not sure who A Kutsia is, but in this case, Kutsia still at number 3, Retief at number 4, and then also Univi at number 5, Conradi at 6, with Gausib at number 7, and Richard Hardwick. Quite a few people will know him from Super Rugby Pacific, playing for the Melbourne Rebels. He is there at number 8. I believe he broke 2 defenders. No, not broke them, but broke through 2 defenders' tackles in the first game for Namibia up against Italy, so it should be interesting. See what he can do here up against Ardie Savea. Damian Stevens, the starting number 9, and the youngster Tian Swanepoel, who does play for the Lions in the URC at 10. Milan in the midfield alongside Dazil, the captain, at 13. Moulton out on one wing. He did score himself that first try of the contest up against the Italians. Russo out on the other wing, and Lubsa at number 15. But looking through at the chat once more, we have got Hideaway your mummies and lock your grannies. Namibia's here, says the fearless David. Also, g'day from Dubai, says Peter. How's it, Hamish? Says David Dempster. Doing very well, mate. Very excited for this round of the Rugby World Cup. There are quite a few games that look like they could be one-horse races, but there is the occasional game that looks like there could be a chance for the underdog. And I think that game yesterday between France and Uruguay told us that no game is for certain, and it's going to be those more experienced sides, or maybe the side with that little bit more left in the gas tank late, that will be able to get themselves over the line. Rugby weekend, says Yvonne there. The time I left the beers for, or this time I left the beers for 5 a.m. Says audio, and hi Hamish, South African watching from the UK. Go Namibia, says it was Jane. And of course, there is going to be the match between South Africa and Romania taking place in the near future. We will be covering that one on the channel alongside every game of this Rugby World Cup. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I think this team for New Zealand will start against Italy, says Luke. Probably not completely the same, but I think a few of these younger guys, the likes of, that's the thing, I'm trying to think through that back line and what the All Blacks will do. That's the trickier thing. There's the right thing to do in some of these cases, and there's what Ian Foster will decide to do. I think for the 4-pack, Luke Jacobson, if he's going to be the number 6, it will be pretty decent for them. The other side of things is if Shannon Frizzell is back, he will probably be the 6. But I think that the All Blacks, they will be still trying to rotate their squad, keeping everyone fresh for their quarterfinal. Bok will always be my team. New Zealand second, but I was born in Namibia, so this is a sensitive one for me, says Talana. And there as well, and also fight Namibia, you can conquer the Giants, says Eugene. And yeah, we haven't quite had the upset of the Rugby World Cup yet, and everyone has that feeling like it's coming at some point. And Mouton, as pronounced Mouton, it's French for mutton, says a rooster there. And also, did you guys see the press conference with the Uruguay captain? What a legend, says Yvonne. I didn't get to see the press conference, but I saw the post-match interview that he did, and yeah, he was pretty much saying about Uruguay putting their hearts on their sleeves, playing as hard as they could up against France, and almost managed to get themselves that victory. Evening, Hamish. Long old day's graft here, but right on the same, or right on all the same. Tidy for a Friday, says Kerno Wick. And also we have got there, I want to see, or I don't want to see any ballerina movies by the All Blacks, or sorry, moves by the All Blacks out there in this game, says Roof. And they might end up going with a few unorthodox plays along the way, of course, mainly because they do need to try and find their confidence, and I think one way to do that is to have things pay off. The problem at the moment for the All Blacks, I believe, is that Beauden Barrett is very keen on giving the opposition the ball. And they were actually talking about it before the game, about maybe rather than going for those long kicks in behind and playing the territory battle, which they do keep on losing, maybe they would be better off going for a couple shorter kicks, making it contestable like we saw between the Springboks and Scotland. Do you think Will Jordan will ever start on the left wing? I doubt it at the moment, mainly because of the numbers that they've got on the left wing side. He's only started at fullback once, and I guess that is the more surprising one. The fact that he's only had one more jersey start at fullback than he has on a left wing that he's never played on before in his life. He's so spoke up for tier 2 teams. It was great, says Yvonne there. And also right on, Pete. All good with yous, mate. And how's our Hamish written for? It is the Swedes? Sadwes? Is that how you'd say that, Stan? I apologise for the mispronunciation. I feel sad for Namibia. All Blacks are going to rip this poor tier 2 nation to shreds. Going to cheer this little team as they go up against the Giants, says the fearless Dave. Although that's the thing. France were looking to tear through Uruguay. Look what happened in that game. Uruguay were able to hold their own throughout the performance. And that's the thing. If the All Blacks aren't scoring tries quickly in this game, does that then put a little bit of frustration on their mind? Does that then mean that there will be little gaps that maybe Namibia can use to their advantage, get themselves a few points on the board themselves, and go the All Blacks? Our way to play is share the workload, quickly recycling hard on gaps, I think that is. Use overlaps, mauling hard, then throw the overlaps. That's our champion way of playing, being disappeared, says Dama. And also, as a Namibian, I will support my team, even in the face of the All Blacks, says Davey. And like we've mentioned about, sometimes these games for the lower ranked sides are actually going to be, you know, it's more of a, sometimes they don't expect to win, but they expect to be able to at least try their absolute best to be able to make a name for themselves. At the end of the day, we've seen in that first round, Romania, They scored themselves the first try up against the Irish. Yes, they didn't walk away with a victory. Yes, they did lose by quite a big margin, but they got themselves that first try. Chile scoring their first ever try of a Rugby World Cup by Fernandez. We saw a decent performance. In fact, while we are listing those games, we might as well show them for what took place in round number 1 of the Rugby World Cup. As you can see there, Namibia, they were actually able to get themselves the early try up against the Italians. Georgia, they managed to score. The only 2 teams that didn't score in round number 1 of the Rugby World Cup was actually England in their 27-10 victory over Los Pumas, and Scotland, who were kept tryless up against the South Africans. But every other side, and I don't think many people predicted that Namibia, Romania, Georgia, Chile, all of those sides would be able to score themselves at least the 1 try. The All Blacks didn't score too many in that game up against France. Only the 2 tries coming for one individual. In Mark Taylor, he was one of 7 that we saw throughout round 1 of the Rugby World Cup get himself the double alongside Amato Fakatava of Japan. We also saw 2 tries from Ben Donaldson, 4 Irish players, including Sexton, Tyburn, Peter O'Mahony and Bundy Arkey, all getting themselves 2. They've gone with a relatively similar lineup Ireland in their game up against Tonga, so maybe they can increase those try scorers up that little bit more. But anyone who hasn't already seen, this is how Pool A is currently sitting. France, 2 wins from 2, sitting on the 8 points, but in both of their performances, including the game yesterday morning up against Uruguay, they have not walked away with a bonus point for scoring 4 or more tries. Now, that will give a few of these sides in Pool B that little bit more confidence, perhaps, heading into those quarterfinals, knowing that France haven't been able to put on that massive total yet, but maybe they are just building into it for this Rugby World Cup competition. New Zealand, they currently sit in 3rd with their points differential sitting -14, so this game will be about increasing that, trying to catch up to the Italians so that when those 2 sides do play off, which they will relatively soon, they are ready to try and overtake them. And looking quickly at when they do play, it will be 15 days' time. New Zealand do not have a game next week, and then after that, they play the Italians. They close out with the game up against Uruguay, and then the week after that, just here, is the quarterfinals if they do make it through, or whoever makes it through for Pool A. Then for Namibia, they have got themselves 2 games remaining as well. They will be playing France next week. Then they play Uruguay, and they do not have a game at the very end, but they play on a Thursday, and I believe that is the second time that we see a Pool A game taking place on a Thursday here in New Zealand. They are at some pretty rough times in the morning, but we will be up covering every single one of the games. In the chat we have got there, whoop whoop. What time do we expect kickoff? We have got 17 minutes until the kickoff, so we are getting relatively close at the moment to the start of this match. We have got the donation for every try from Namibia. Says stand there and go Namibia. If it's not against Ireland, got to cheer for the underdogs, says Yvonne. And Alistair Kutz says, never won a game against the ABs yet, says the fearless Dave. And he will be one of many who have not been able to win a game up against the All Blacks. But if there's ever a time to do it, it's in a World Cup, because that is when the most eyes are on this sport. You're the best YouTube commentator ever, love you, says Jan. Thank you very much, mate. All Blacks ain't bottling this. They have a good game and a comfortable win, says the night there in Kia ora. Hamish was unsure whether it was worth waking up early for this. It's just after 4:30 a.m. here. I hope it's competitive. You look coughed up and ready, says BP. Yeah, we have actually been up since about 1 a.m. New Zealand time. I've been trying to keep on a Northern Hemisphere time zone this week, which means that I'm going to bed in the early afternoon New Zealand time to wake up when it's around midnight, somewhere around there. So hopefully these games are going to be taking place and I won't be as tired as next week. By the way, Hamish, have you noticed the most of the Namibians, Afrikaans, see the surname, says Stan Paulson? They are, which is why I find it a little bit easier to pronounce some of the sides. Namibia for the win, says Isaac Williams in the chat there. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. Nice early morning start for you in New Zealand, of course. Win or lose, I watched this fire commentary. Ruggers says audio there. And also we have got Namibia will fight hard. A lot of them are farmers, so used to grafting, says Kerno Wick. And the massive benefit that they will have is they don't have to deal with that 30 or so degree heat that we did have in round number 1 of the Rugby World Cup. Instead, these games taking place at maybe like early 20s, if that, maybe even a little bit lower, because it is a nighttime game. I really like to meet the 11% of people that think Namibia are going to win, says Finton. Well, that's the thing. They've seen that game between France and Uruguay, and if it wasn't for those last maybe 10 or 15 minutes where Uruguay just started losing their momentum, they would have had the big upset in this Rugby World Cup. So I think people have seen that and they have considered that in their decision making, because the lowest underdog for this round is actually Fiji, paying about $4 or somewhere around there, $3.50. After that, it is Japan, being the $8 underdog, and then from there about $15 for Portugal. Tonga around that same mark. So yeah, it's interesting. See how the odds are all sitting. This round is expected to just have one big winner by a big margin, but I'm hoping we have a few close games along the way as well. But we haven't actually shown the benches yet, ladies and gentlemen, so anyone wondering who will be coming off the bench for the ABs and Namibia, it is going to be Dane Coles, Ethan de Groot and Fletcher Null as the front row replacements. Scott Barrett off the bench at 19 with Tupa Vai at number 20. Now, I'm not too sure whether or not Vai and Barrett will both come on as a lock or whether one of them will slot into that number 6 jersey, maybe for Luke Jacobson. Could transition somewhere else in the loose forward trio if they do need him. Aaron Smith at number 21, Richie Mo'unga 22, and Rieko Ioane. A lot of experience off the bench for the All Blacks in this game, and they have talked about it, how sometimes it's at later stages of the matches that the All Blacks are struggling the most, when they haven't quite been able to have that same impact of their bench as they do have in their starting lineup. Van der Vesterhuizen will be at number 16, Seti at 17, who did start the last match for Namibia, and Shifuka at number 18. It is going to be Van Lille at number 19, and Buisen at number 20. That's a tricky name. Kajiko? Is that how you would say it? I know that it is Afrikaans, and I know that that is one name that I will have to learn a bit better as we go for. Grayling at number 23, who was on the starting side, and also Theron at number 22. They are just showing the points table at the moment. France sitting at the top with 8. Italy sitting in second on 5. And New Zealand currently not in the top 2. They are in third, looking to increase their way up. Namibia looks like a very enticing country to visit, says Mumbo Jumbo, and didn't think Uruguay would put up a fight. Well done, Los Teros, says BP. I enjoy the rugby, forget who is the best, says William, or just enjoy the rugby. Exactly right. If these lower ranked sides are able to put on great performances here, I think sometimes a mistake people make is looking at a result and not looking at what's happened throughout the game, if that makes sense. Like, if Namibia score themselves 1 or 2 tries here up against the All Blacks, that's massive for them compared to what we have seen in past results. But then if the All Blacks score themselves, let's say 15 tries, then people go, oh, it's one-sided. Namibia weren't going to win that game anyway. But sometimes it's not so much about the winning, but about the little miniature wins that they have on the field throughout the 80 minutes. The great Namibian Jacques Burger, says Mumbo Jumbo. And good morning from New Zealand, says Mr. Loom. First try scorer Hamish says audio. I'm going with Lester Whainganuku. Think that they'll fire it out wide to him, but I also feel Caleb Clark might have a decent game out on the right wing. But in doing so, it will make it even harder for the selectors to decide whether or not to have Will Jordan maybe play fullback for Bowden Barrett, or whether they're going to go with maybe Caleb Clark as that starting 14. Where's our suit, Hamish? You know, this is a gentleman's game, says audio check. At the moment, the suit is hanging up, ready to go for Monday morning. That's going to be the day that we have the suit on. Hopefully the ball on the pitch isn't so greased by the heat this time, says Sam Steele. So yeah, it's looking at about 22 degrees Celsius, I believe I saw just a little bit ago. So it shouldn't be too bad. And the players, I'd like to think they wouldn't be as fatigued as we head into the second half. What's wrong with the All Blacks? Putting on their best team against guys who work during the day, says Goldberg. This wouldn't be considered as the All Blacks' best team. They have got quite a few changes compared to what they would normally have. They haven't got the one man who scored tries for them in the Rugby World Cup in the starting lineup, that involving Mark Talia. Cam Roygaard starting at number 9. He's had less than 10 caps, so they've got quite a few changes, and a lot of people would say that this is the less experienced side that they could have put out rather than the best of the best. Who do you think, or what do you think the scoreline will be? Who's the referee, says Morne Lagrange. So for this game, scoreline-wise, I believe New Zealand will be able to get themselves quite a few tries along the way, but I want to say Namibia will still have moments in this game where they look like scoring and maybe even cross the try line a couple of times. I'm looking at that youngster Mouton out on the wing. Devan Rousseau out on the other side could maybe get himself in. Kiwis feel their strongest team, WTF, says democracy must survive. And also we have got their Amish 400 Rand donation if a Namibia win, says Stan in the chat as well. How much is 400 Rand? I think is that 4 or 40 New Zealand dollars? One of the two. Either way, it's very generous, Stan, of course. If that was to happen. Oh, I says Kingsley in there. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. And 3612 says audio in there. New Zealand 60 plus win, says Jimmy O'Brien and Steve Hansen. And the All Blacks coaching box, says Mr. Lerm. Yeah, they have decided to bring him back in. They decided they need someone who knows how to coach. So Ian Foster here to step aside. Let Steve Hansen into the box. Appreciate the effort, Hamish, as always, first class. Thank you very much for Finton. Hugely appreciated, mate. Just before this kickoff, ladies and gentlemen, only 9 minutes away. Two sides will be making their way out onto the field in a very short moment for the national anthems. The All Blacks will have the Haka, and then we will be underway for another game of this Rugby World Cup. And thanks, Tim. Go the All Blacks. Get those sweet asses moving forward over the try line, please. Says, Roof, tell you what, if Ian Foster gave them that team talk in the changing sheds, they'd either be very confused or they'd be very motivated, Roof. And, I mean, you are right to a certain extent. Different wording is how I would put it, but they need to be moving forward in this game. At the end of the day, when you look at the lineup that they've gone with, they should be able to break the line, managing to get themselves a few nice set plays throughout this game. I say hesitantly just because it depends how much Beauden Barrett is involved in it. I just woke up, set the alarm for 4:45 a.m. I'm not missing an All Blacks game this Rugby World Cup, says Heath. Who is going to score the first try for the ABs? My prediction is Leicester Whainganuku. We'll go with that. 400 Rand is a bottle of brandy. And cheddar melt burger in South Africa, says Sakabula. Has to be Kiwis by 60 hertz to say, says Democracy Must Survive. Right, the coin toss has been done. It will be Luke Pearce in charge of this game as referee as well, ladies and gentlemen. We've got there, no more drop balls, please, AB, says Zane. Yeah, it's a tricky part, isn't it, for the All Blacks, because the handling has been poor over their last two performances, and then the penalty count, they've given away more than 10 penalties in all of their last about, I want to say 6 games or something along those lines. So it's concerning, because if they do get penalised so often in a big game, it's going to hurt them. We have got there, yes, Sakabula, match me if you dare. Says Stan, and also we have got there, might play a drinking game. Every time Bodie kicks, take a shot, says Jobo. You will be on the floor by halftime, Jobo. And that is even if you are very good at drinking. Because Beauden Barrett, he does like to kick that ball. It could be a double shot every time he does one of those little chips. And once again, you'll be passed out by 20 minutes. And better to start pouring and improving the World Cup, says Charles. And also, hi, Hamish. AB 60, Namibia 6. Supporting Namibia, beautiful country, says Goldberg in there. As well, 70-0 for the New Zealanders, says John. And greens from Botswana, says Sean Lees. And there as well. But looking through at the previous result for the All Blacks in their first game of the Rugby World Cup, we also have that last warm-up game that they did play up against the South Africans. And in both of those games, the All Blacks scored less than 3 tries. They did get themselves 2 against France, 1 against the South Africans. But that 1 try in that game up against South Africa was actually scored by Cam Roygaard, the young number 9 who now gets himself that opportunity in the starting lineup. The All Blacks, they need to be more clinical than they have been in those past 2 games. Definitely here up against the Namibians. And it looks like the two sides just about to make their way out of the tunnel for Namibia. Their past 4 games, they did have themselves a close game up against the Argentina XV, in which they did get defeated 34 points to 27. They had a narrow loss to the Uruguayans, which they are going to be playing later on in this Rugby World Cup group stage. 28 points to 26. They did win over Chile, and then 52 points to 8 in that first game of the Rugby World Cup. But I feel like that scoreline doesn't really do them justice, I would say, with how they were able to play throughout most of that game. Did certainly apply a bunch of pressure. But now the two sides making their way out onto the field now. Going to be ready to go for this opening game of round number 2 for both of these sides, which isn't really an opening game, it's the second game. And we have got Ola, says Daniel, welcome in. Hope you are once again doing very well. Did you see the South Africa cricket versus Australia? I did not. I pretty much, as soon as I got up, I've been editing since about 1 a.m. New Zealand time, getting everything sorted out for these live streams that we have got coming up over the weekend, which I should mention we have got a video coming out at about 9:30 a.m. New Zealand time, 2.5 hours. That will be the Fiji versus Australia starting lineups and reserves. We have got good luck Namibia in the chat, and also no way AB's losing 3 in a row, says Charles. And there is on Namibia, our country, from Hillary. Now the national anthems. I will mention, like I did on that last live stream between France and Uruguay, the sides have been given the option of either hearing the choir version sung by the children of France, or you can use the soundtrack of the game, or sorry, of the anthem if you would prefer. And New Zealand have opted. Okay, I think New Zealand have gone with a little bit of a combo meal. And they've gone with, it sounds like a choir singing, but they've also got the instrumental behind it. So trying to have the best of both worlds, playing the impartial role, the Kiwis in this World Cup soundtrack, please. Says usual, is Namibia the Venice of Africa, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. I have my first warm-up game of cricket today, says Daniel Eastie. Yeah, we haven't quite got to that stage yet. I know that we're talking about cricket pre-season starting up relatively soon, but we still have probably a few more weeks before we do get there. But New Zealand, national anthem, Ardie Savia, he will be in charge of the side, playing the captain's role for this match. I will show you guys exactly who is in the starting lineup, though, for the All Blacks. It will be Ofa Tuangafasi, Samasoni Taukiaho, and Nepo Lulala as the front row. Brodie Retallick and Sam Whitelock, the locking duo. Huge amount of experience between those two individuals. Luke Jacobson at 6, Dalton Papali'i at number 7, and Ardie Savia. Like I said, the captain, he will be there at number 8. Cam Roigard, I'm excited to see what that man can do. In fact, I'd almost guarantee you he's going to get himself a try in that game. I say almost guarantee because I'm normally bad at predictions. Damian McKenzie at number 10, David Arvili and Anton Lienert-Brown as the midfield combination. Whainganuku, Caleb Clark, and Beauden Barrett going to be the back three. So actually quite a few Blues players overall in this lineup. I'm seeing 4, which is a lot, or actually 5, which is a lot more than they'd normally have from the Blues. Looking at the Namibian side, they have kept a few of the players still the same, likes of Damian Stevens and Tian Swanepoel as their 19 combination. I believe Swanepoel will have the kicking tee duties throughout this game, which of course Namibia will be wanting to use as much as physically possible, but for that they either need penalties or the tries to be scored. Couple little changes in the back line as well, but keeping their wingers the same, with Mouton out on the right wing and Rizzo out on the left, and then Funz Yarsfield at number 2, ready to go for this game, with Van der Vesterhuizen coming off the bench for Namibia. We have got there, that's option. Ridiculous, says that guy Jensen in there. Yeah, I think so. I think they kind of have a little bit of a bundle deal for the ABs. Can you explain how New Zealand lost to France? Says Naufi. Now, the obvious answer is they scored less points. But the more in-depth answer, by a couple sentences, would be the discipline of the All Blacks did let them down drastically in that game. Also, the handling errors. They just aren't quite working as a cohesive unit at the moment for the ABs, which is why in this game up against Namibia, I actually think they'll go better, because these players who are out there on the field, some of these guys are in the best form that they have been in a long time, yet the All Blacks don't select them often because they have those guys who have name value that have been playing in those other games. So I'm curious to see how some of these informed players go. I think the perfect example of that, I won't call any players out, never mind, we won't do that just yet. I like the anthems, says audio there, and also we have got the awesome dune surfing in Namibia, and also we have got the Namibia play with Fufi, says Obi, but the All Blacks about to do the Haka. Looks like Aaron Smith will be leading this. I think France was the only hard team for New Zealand, says Del Nufi. Yeah, in the group stage, although to a certain extent now people are saying Italy as well is a good option. Go head-to-head with the All Blacks and make it relatively tricky for them, and I would agree with that statement, mainly because the All Blacks selection for that game, we're not quite sure what they will go with as of yet. A lot of experience off the bench for the All Blacks in this game as they do perform the Haka before the kickoff of this game. Dane Coles, Scott Barrett, Aaron Smith, Moonga and Rico Ioane all looking to add their own impact into this game. Namibia, they've got a couple of the men who were on the starting side, like Sisithi, also Grayling, Theron. They'll be looking to have a real impact off the bench in the later stages of this game as well. And with the fact that it's nowhere near as hot as it was the last time that these two sides took to the field, which was in round 1 of the World Cup, it means that they should be a little bit less likely to run out of stamina just before the end of the game. Imagine all the sand sculptures I could create, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. Hope they kick a lot, says that guy Jensen. And also we have got there Namibia need to kick a lot. No way, says Audio. All Blacks lost their mojo. Always disappointed for South African fans, says Goldberg. And the elephant in the room is Bodie. Take the line on and stop kicking it, says Jobo. Everyone sees it except Beauden Barrett at the moment. But if he can hang on to the ball and actually run it, rather than just chipping it back to the opposition and saying, you guys play with it, I don't want it anymore. That will be the thing that helps the ABs in this game. Hopefully Namibia can give New Zealand a good game. Exactly right. I hope that the Namibians are able to really push the ABs throughout the early stages. We have got there surely Samoa wins to Chile tonight, says Talnufi. They should, but it's a hard one to predict. So we will have to wait and see whether or not that will be the case. But the two sides now ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are back for every game of the Rugby World Cup. It is greatly appreciated you all being here for this matchup. And we got plenty more just around the corner. They're showing that starting lineup for the All Blacks in their forward pack. Whitelock, Lulala, Papali and Savia all keeping their spots in the starting lineup when they did go head-to-head with Le Bleu of the back line. It is only Beauden Barrett and Anton Leonard-Brown who keep their spot, although Leonard-Brown transitioning from 12 to go to number 13 in this game. We have got there in the chat, Namibia needs to do an England and go for drop kicks at every possible opportunity, says Grant, although the big question mark is, will three-pointers be enough to beat the All Blacks if they were to go down that line? And I would say that the All Blacks, maybe they just score a few too many tries to be able to match. At the end of the day, Argentina, they just didn't quite show up the way we would have liked. Why aren't you wearing formal tonight, Amish, says Victor? Because there is only the one game on for tonight. We're saving the suit for the Monday. But it's one of those ones that it's interesting. When I wear the suit, people get angry. When I don't wear the suit, people get angry. It's very hard to keep everyone happy for every single match. But they're showing Sam Whitelock. That man has got a lot of caps under his belt. A lot of experience alongside now Brodie Retallick, who has returned from his injury. Did get the chance off the bench in the last game. Some great games to come this weekend. So excited, says BP. But it will be the All Blacks who are kicking off from right to left. Showing the youngster there at number 8, Richard Hardwick. He is a phenomenal player for the Melbourne Rebels. So he's actually played up against quite a few of the teammates. You look smarter in a suit, says Dark Scar Flame. Yeah, I may look smarter, but it's also a bit chillier. The suit's not very warm, unfortunately, just like New Zealand at the moment. Luke Pearce, he will be the referee in charge. Andrew Brace, Jordan Way, 2 assistants here. Who's your money on for the first try scorer? Well, as you guys know, I don't end up putting any money on games because I always get it wrong, but I would go Lester Whainaunuku in this game. But it's taken now by the youngster Richard Hardwick at the back for the Namibians, who drives up to the 22, but he is tackled by Brodie Retallick. Now Damian Stevens back into the pocket to Swanepoel. Get some decent distance on this one. Damian McKenzie keeps it in the field of play, goes across to Beauden Barrett, passes it across to the right-hand side to Caleb Clark, who is playing on the right wing for this game. Now, that is actually a pleasant surprise because normally Beauden would be kicking that straight back to the opposition. Passed out wide to Whainaunuku. Does try and bump off the tackle attempt of the number 14, Mooten. Moving up to the halfway line now for the All Blacks. Whitelock, McKenzie slinging pass to Retallick, taken down by the skipper of Namibia. Roygaard goes off to Savia. Now Clark, quick hands out to Dalton Papali. Now Leonard-Brown close to the touchline, cuts back inwards. Manages to get out of the tackle attempt. Now McKenzie again, going to the left-hand side to Nepololala, but this is looking promising from the All Blacks. Actually looking to hit the ball up in the early stages of this game. Now Leonard-Brown bumps off one tackle attempt, is dragged down by Damian Stevens, 35 metres out from the line. Roygaard, bit of a juggle there, sells the dummy as if he was passing to Tolkiaho. Takes the contact instead. Now Tolkiaho plays the half. Beauden Barrett, cross kick attempted. Nicely taken by Lester. Whainaunuku finds his offload to David Arveli, but they're on the 22-metre line now, the All Blacks. Round the side of the breakdown. Whainaunuku inside boy to Cam Roygaard. And he continues his try-scoring record. Gets himself the early one for the ABs. Please, I need Namibia support, says Hillary there. What do you want, Hamish? But in my opinion, comfort over style. Says BP, wear your jacket with the t-shirt and tie. It should be good, says productivity by design. And Hammy's suit is like a red card. You never know when it will come out. Yeah, and unfortunately we have had quite a few red card situations almost occur throughout this Rugby World Cup. Somehow we only ended up with one red though, but that was a great bit of work there from Leicester Whainarnuku to pick and go around the side of the breakdown, got straight through the tackle attempt of, I believe it would have been Conradi, and then got the inside ball away to Cam Roygaard, who continues scoring tries for the All Blacks. Did it up against the box, does it up against Namibia, like scoring against the African nations. Caitlin is in the chat. It has got the praise in hands as well. Welcome in. I hope you are doing very well. Relatively late in South Africa, I believe. You did mention how you got up late for the last game that did take place, so it is great to have you here once again. Why not mark, or why not make 32 team in the World Cup, says Eddie, mainly to stop one-sided affairs from taking place. The good news is, even in the 20 games, we do get some one-sided games, but they are slowly getting closer. It'd be great to have more nations take part, of course, but the other side of things is normally you end up with sides winning 125-0, and then it kind of puts people off a little bit for those games. But if there is a way of getting those other teams more game time, I would 100% say go for it. But now Leicester Whainarnuku finds the offload away to Whitelock. Tuanga Fussy out to David Arvili now on the short side, coming back from injury. More recently looks for the kick. He's kicked it out on the full, and Namibia now will have themselves the kicking opportunity, the line-out opportunity from just outside of their 22. It's 9 p.m. in South Africa, says Stan, although depending on what you do for work and everything along those lines, what time you do end up waking up, of course, could be quite a late night. And try and so it begins, says Kerno Vic. And much respect to the Blocks, or to the Blocks, for not going overboard with that try. Neil England, says Neil Cooper. And 3 a.m. here in Indonesia. I'm here for us Kiwis. Let's go, says Sullivan, the claimed. Line out now for Namibia. Short ball from Damian Stevens. Nice attacking run forward from LaRue Milan. The All Blacks looking to get that turnover in the breakdown, and I believe they were almost able to do so with the counter ruck, but it does pop just back out for Namibia on the short side. Tian Swanepoel tried to kick him behind. It does bounce back up, straight back into his hands. And Namibia now 4 minutes into this game, 22 metres out from the All Blacks line. Tackle made by Samisoni Taukiaho. Big shot coming in from Tuanga Fasi. Stevens goes to Tian Swanepoel. Nice skip pass there. And that looks like Whainarnuku. No, he won't get the penalty as Brodie Retallick. In fact, it was Sam Whitelock was unable to get out of that breakdown. Namibia now have the opportunity of going for either the corner or the 3 points. I think they're going to have to go for the corner here. And they are definitely going to be trying their best from 5 metres out. Tian Swanepoel, they get a round of applause from the crowd who appreciate the fact that they are going aggressive rather than taking on those 3 points. 10 metres out from the line now. We have got there a bigger World Cup with 32 teams. Will dilute weekend pool games and with cricket scores. Football are able to do this because it's more competitive internationally, but not rugby, says BP. Yeah, I think there would have to be a few more teams progress a little bit further before they get to that stage, unless they went with 32. But I was going to say the only way you could do it is have like the smaller teams play each other and then knock each other out, and then they qualify for the bigger games. But you don't want to make them play more games than some of the other sides, or else then injuries are that other side of things. But now it's going to be Milan. Passes off there to the captain, Dazelle. 5 metres from the line, but the offload, or in fact the drop ball from Namibia now opens up the play for the ABs. It's going to be out on the wing. Bowden Barrett running with the ball, something we never thought we'd see in 2023. He's kicked it in behind for Damian McKenzie to chase after. He almost got to it too, McKenzie. It's going to be a question mark of whether him or Mouton were able to get the ball down. McKenzie, he shook his head, so I don't think he thinks he's there. Got a massive bump on his head already, Damian McKenzie. Looks like he's hip-butted a wall. I think Malcolm Mark's injury is a Rassie hoax. Says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. I don't think it is. If there was any player that you were going to have injured for the sake of bringing in, let's say, Andre Pollard, you wouldn't pick Malcolm Marks as that guy. Damian McKenzie, he's just done this. Said it's 50-50. Luke Pearce will be going upstairs to check whether or not he got there. He actually showed a nice late bit of pace there from McKenzie. No, he was short of the line. Did manage to get there first, but it's a knock-on. 5 metres out from the line will now be the scrum feed. In fact, they might call that a goal line dropout. No, that should be a scrum for Namibia. It was infield, so it will now be the scrum 5 metres out. Marks is definitely injured, says Sean Lees. And does Namibia know who D-Mac is? They look relaxed, says Audio. I mean, we could try and say that Muta knew that the ball was short, so he didn't jump on it, but that would be definitely stretching it a bit there. But yeah, great bit of play from the All Blacks. Bowden Barrett running with the ball out on the wing. And then he had McKenzie on his inside, who just got there a tad too quick. We have got there in the chat as well from Stan. Should be incorporated back into the South African Curry Cup. Says Stan, it's an idea that might work. I was so close to doing something, but for butterfingers. Says BP, and A. Hamish can't miss a DMAC game. Says not everyday cultist. We have got there, why don't you just stream the game? Because of copyright and licensing, they would end up taking us straight down, banning us for 3 months, and possibly suing us. So, yeah, we're not allowed to. The best way of putting it. And Ireland are the only team to beat the Springboks. Says Neil. Is that like throughout this World Cup, Neil? Oh, massive scrum from the All Blacks. 5 metres out. Roygaard spins, gets himself another one. That's 2 from 2 now for the young halfback. And that will give the All Blacks a 12 points to 0 lead. We have got there Hamish in the tries from Ruth. D-Mac, the Aussie B-baller from back in the 90s, says the Wonder Cash. Not quite. Unless, of course, he also did a bit of a smile, which we are going to see from McKenzie very soon. He will be kicking for the post. Neil, that statement. So last year, says Stan. And also more fantasy points, baby, says Grant. And there as well. But it's a brilliant spin from Cam Roygaard. And a massive push there from them at scrum time. Now, we actually saw relatively one-sided scrums in the past game between Uruguay and France, but Uruguay was still able to get themselves a few penalties along the way. Sounds like the rain is also starting to fall. We have got there Swanepoel, proper player. Says Adrian, the All Blacks mean business. Could it be 3 figures, says Geza. They've still got plenty of time to do so, of course, but I like to think Namibia will keep it just that little bit closer, and we shouldn't hit 3 figures for the All Blacks in this game. Yeah, relatively steady rain for this match, which is something we haven't seen a huge amount of. Definitely not in round 1, seeing as all the games were so warm. The only team that will stop the Springboks from winning the World Cup, says Neil in there as well. So theoretically, that would have to be the final, wouldn't it, Neil, that you're referring to? So you're saying Springboks Island is the final because that's the only time that they'll be able to meet. Other than, of course, in the group stage, but that won't knock the Springboks out. And Roygaard is the future at 9 for the ABs, in my opinion. He's only a pup. But the pick of the litter, says Kernovik. Yeah, I think this is the perfect example of why they should have Roygaard as the option off the bench, and the fact that Christie maybe shouldn't have even been selected in the All Black squad in the first place, rather maybe Weber or Fakatava. It's going to be kicked up high from Damien McKenzie from inside of his 22. Decent clearing kick downfield to about 40 metres out from the line. Have to take, or one to take the tackle. I love the gap advantage on Cam Hamish, says Audio, and they mentioned about it before the game as well, the lack of, I guess, attacking nature around the side of the breakdown that the All Blacks have been using in some of their past games. But this is looking a lot better from them here, being willing to take on that gap, and that's something that Roygaard did for the Hurricanes all throughout Super Rugby Pacific. Oh, it's French national anthem being sung. French fans just trying to let them know exactly who's sitting in number 1 in the pool at the moment. Now to the right, it's going to be Namibia with the advantage, and the penalty does go their way. That was pulling down the arm in the line out. Thought about the quick tap, Damian Stevens. Doesn't quite get it. I agree with the 9. Synopsis, Hamish, says Kernovik. And at the moment, New Zealand versus South Africa is on, depending what happens in South Africa versus Ireland, says John there as well. All right. Tian Swanepoel looks like he will be taking on the 3-point chance now, even though they are down by 12. They'd still like to get some sort of points the early stages of this fixture. Whitelock, but disappointed to have given away that penalty. I believe that is now 2 against him throughout the first 10 minutes. Is it raining there? Says Neil, it is indeed. So it did start raining just when Damien McKenzie was about to take that kick, or in fact raining heavier than it already was. Brad Weber, Future 9. Did you watch him last night? Says Mr. Loom. Wait, Brad Weber Future 9 is in the squad, or is in like an up-and-coming player? Because, of course, he's a little bit older, Brad Weber. Tian Swanepoel now going to be lining up this kick. 42 metres out on the angle. And also most of the Namibian players are amateurs. Says Adrian. Swanepoel keeps it low, keeps it straight. And that is now going to be giving them the 3 points on the board for Namibia. 12 points to 3 now. We got the Kieran emoji from JP. And at least Namibia won't be blanked. Says Geza there. And also we have the King Country drink before 8 a.m. And still got Mutts looking ugly. Says one to cash. And only country in the world to have a winning unbeaten record against the ABs is Rhodesia. Says Dirk. It's going to be kicked off short by the All Blacks, knocked on by Leicester Nuku, who I don't think was actually anticipating the ball to go straight through. The average age of the Namibia player was 19, says Fluffy there. In their starting side, Fluffy. That's a little bit surprising, because they have got some of the older fellas, the likes of Dazel, I think he's about 32. Also in the front row, they got Torsten van Jaarsveld. I think he's close to his 30s as well. And there's going to be some good matches. I wasn't expecting Uruguay to be able to come as close as France, says Dark Scar Flame. Whereas your suit and tie, says Hillary. It will be coming out on Monday morning, New Zealand time, for South Africa versus Romania, Fiji, Australia, and England, Japan, all back to back to back. We'll have the suit on for that one. 12 minutes in, and now Damian Stevens about to feed the ball. And I think the All Blacks pushed a little bit too early there, so the referee and a tad lenient. Now nice stepping there from the young Mouton. He does get driven into touch, just runs out of space. It's a song 19 and South Africa games only, says Caitlin. And as well as Fiji, Australia and whatnot. I feel like those games on Monday, they are the ones that could have the upset along the way. So we've got to make sure got the suit on. That work from Leicester Nuku down the wing. I'm watching the game right now, says Juhas. And there's and Dazel is solid, says Adrian. Nicely taken by Brody Retallick at the front of the line out. Tolkiaho staying joined up. 4 line breaks so far from the All Blacks, 0 from Namibia. Namibia, they've had a couple decent runs. Perfect example of that was Mouton just before Cam Roygar gets the ball knocked out of his hands. I think off a Tuanga Fussy. In fact, they're going to give the penalty to the All Blacks. Please don't play the ball on the floor, number 5. So that's going to be against Unavi. Now the All Blacks, they'll have the opportunity to kick by the corner. Brad Weber, great Hawke's Bay player, Chiefs player, All Blacks player, mighty Māori All Black player, says Mr. Loom. So yeah, it would have been great to see him in the World Cup squad. And yeah, it's definitely not in replacement of Smith or Roygaard at this point. And hey, my bro, says Marco Vanapola there. Now it's going to be about 20 metres out from the line. Samisoni Tolkiaho with the line out throw for the All Blacks as the rain still is pouring into Luz, taken at the front by Sam Whitelock, who actually fell slightly awkwardly as he was taken down at line out time. Namibia slowly pushing the All Blacks towards that touchline, but Samisoni Tolkiaho managing to pierce back inwards. And speaking of Pierce, Luke Pierce now giving them the penalty advantage. Damien McKenzie wide cut out pass out to Caleb Clark, and he should have a run for the corner, although he's made it difficult. Caleb Clark not quite the acceleration needed to be able to score. Whainaunuku goes out of the back of the breakdown, ends up with the ball. Rousseau has to get out of there. Roygaard back and behind to Damien McKenzie. Attack and run from him. Passes out wide. Doesn't find the hands. And it's a slip from Ofa Tuanga Fussy. They'll go back for another penalty. All the best games. Both teams, says Terry Pie. And also Fiji versus Australia. My most anticipated game of this round. Toso Viti Toso, says BP. Yeah, I think that is the game. Not just because of the points or in terms of the betting odds. It is the game that a lot of people feel will be closest throughout the weekend, and perhaps Japan-England, depending on what kind of Japanese side does show up for that contest. Vunipola was a part of us, says Stan. Now 5 minutes out, Samisoni Tolkiaho will have the line out. Looks like there's an injury at the back. I think that's Damian Stevens. Yes, it is. It's taken a bit of a knock. Yes, Namibia is very similar to South Africa, just cleaner and safer. Says John, and bad composure, and it's the same nerves. Says Audio, and rain is playing a factor here. Right, that's either wind or thunder. One of the two. We've got there Mouton, Phonic Annunciation. Says Goldberg in my country, land of the brave, and ball's starting to look slippery And Ireland versus Tonga could be more competitive than people are predicting. There is a chance. Hopefully Tonga will be able to show up and play a relatively decent game. Mainly because I think Ireland will benefit from it as well. They want a game that they are being contested or getting challenged a little bit more. And Kayla's decision making is sometimes questionable, says Sean Lees. And also we have got their disharmony. Namibia have load shedding though, says Fluffy. That's a good question. I'm not actually too sure. Now taken at the front by Brodie Retallick. 5 metres out from the line now for the All Blacks. Starting to drive just a little bit closer. Taukei'aho. It's getting close. He's over the line. And the All Blacks, they will score their 3rd try of the match now. Too easy, just too easy there. Says Geza and bless you, Hamish. Says Blues Day and bless you. Says, was there from Jacqueline and Mouton. Says, it was Stan Pulse, New Zealand look beatable. Says Amy. And also, hey H, how's it going? What's been happening? Who scored? Says Wonga. So far, we've seen 2 tries from Cam Roigard and 1 try from Samisoni Taukei'aho. Chiefs number 2. They come off the bench in the last game, getting the start here ahead of Cody Taylor and Dane Coles. Mackenzie very poor, says Rez. And Tonga should test Ireland physicality, says George. Taukei'aho, as soon as that rolling ball started making momentum towards the try line, it was going to be extremely hard to be able to stop him, and AB's respecting their opponent, says Stanley. And bonus point loading, says Sean Lees. Although they want to check something here, this might not be a try for Samisoni Taukei'aho. Jeff Wilson on the commentary is not sure what they're going to be checking, but Luke Pearce, or one of his TMOs, has let him know about something. Number 1 and number 5 they're checking, so that will be Whitelock and Ofa Tuangafasi, I believe. Right, what do we got here? I just sneezed again. It's going to be no try because of Ofa Tuangafasi being in a bad position. I think he's also dropped the ball twice at this stage throughout the early stages. Good call by me, says Pinton. We have got there number 5 in front of the ball carrier, says Gezis. That is also against Sam Whitelock. 3rd penalty against that man. We have got there number 5 in front of the ball carrier. Namibia struggling, says Us Robinson. And also we've got there Namibia also only needs to provide electricity for the 40 people that live there, says Grant. Now Tian Swanepoel, currently sitting 100% kicking accuracy. Caitlin's got the sneezing emoji there as well. The funny thing is, I've been up since about 1 a.m. New Zealand time, and I haven't sneezed once. But as soon as the rugby starts, maybe it's just because I'm talking more. Or to be fair, maybe it's just the hay fever. What a privilege as a uni player to play against New Zealand, says Adrian. And yeah, it's a massive opportunity for these young guys. It's similar to what we saw for Chile in their game up against Japan, how a lot of those guys, they had full-time jobs outside of rugby. And they actually had to quit their job to be able to go to the World Cup. But, you know, scoring that first try up against the Japanese for Fernandez would have been a moment he will not forget. Going to be kicked high by Damian Stevens, who has now got the headband on to stop the blood. That was very close to Damian McKenzie's foot being in touch, going off to Bowden Barrett on the inside. Oh, that looks bad. That looks like, this is really bad. I think his ankle or his knee or his shin or something's facing the wrong way. I think he might have just broken his leg in half. That does not look too flash. He's in a huge amount of pain here. I think that's actually Torsten. Yep, they're talking stretcher straight away. This is not what you want to see for a player. And like they've said, this is going to be a long delay, mainly because of the extent of the injury. I believe his leg got twisted the wrong way. Okay. So the referee, I think it was Luke Pearce, he was going to go over and check, and then he walked away because he didn't want to look at the leg facing the wrong way. I think it was the ankle, in fact. Everyone clapping at the moment. Surely he's not already back to his feet. If he is, it is absolutely crazy that he's been able to get up that quickly. Neo has put there off for Lolala for the red card. Says Neo 6'9". I think they've just said it's actually Johan Retief who might have this injury. I know they're going to show a replay at some stage, and I don't know if I want to see it or not. So I might decide at the time. Watch it out of the corner of my eye. It looks like now, player warming up on the side of the field, getting ready to go. And bigger one says audio, and who's injured? It is the number 5, Johan Retief. And a lot of big players getting injured, says George there. And yeah, they are saying there's going to be a decently long delay for this one. So while we have got the delay, ladies and gentlemen, we will look through at what is coming up for these two sides. In fact, no, we won't. We'll look through at what's coming up for this round of the Rugby World Cup now. We have got France versus Uruguay. That is already in the bag. We saw that game yesterday, 27 points to 12. New Zealand versus Namibia. That is at 7 a.m. now. That game is taking place. Samoa versus Chile. Wales versus Portugal. And Ireland versus Tonga. All taking place tomorrow. It's going to be interesting. All the sides that are favourite, by the way, are on this side all the way down throughout the matches. South Africa versus Romania. Australia versus Fiji. That is supposed to be the closest game taking place over the weekend. And then England versus Japan. But there could still be one or two upsets somewhere along the way throughout this round. Hopefully, we do get to see just maybe one just to stir it up somewhere along all of these games. But still a lot of entertaining matches will be taking place in the near future of this Rugby World Cup. So if you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are covering every single game on the channel. Also, we have got there, did you know Jacques Burger? I knew the player, but I haven't met the guy or anything along those lines. We have got there, remember Jan Ellis, one of the greatest Springboks Lucy's ever. And Oz Andrew Murdens was born in Durban, says Goldberg. And Sam Whitelock, discipline is costing the All Blacks, says Morne Lagrange. Yeah, he has given away 3 penalties so far. Ofa Tuangafasi, I think he's dropped the ball twice and given away 1 penalty, so he is also letting them down just a little bit at this point. Sam Whitelock, discipline is cost... Oh, no, I read that one, didn't I? Hamish Rocks says Ruth, and Japan is pretty good at upsets, says Dark Scar Flame. Yeah, it is talked about that. It's either going to be Australia, Fiji, or Japan versus England. One of those two could be the one that causes the upset. But I have a weird feeling. I don't know whether or not it's because of what happened in their last game, but I think that Portugal might be able to push Wales. They are just showing the replay here of the Whainā Nuku run that then led to the Roygaard try in the early stages of the contest. It was a great inside ball. Roygaard got himself over the line once, and damn, had to be the technique of his cover, eh? Says audio there. And also we've got their World Rugby scared of allowing the ABs to play their first game. To play their fast game. Says Inky, although it's been the All Blacks who have been kicking that ball away to the opposition in a majority of their games. Beauden Barrett running the ball was something we didn't think we'd see throughout this World Cup, but he actually ran it down the wing and it didn't look too badly for them. And typical from Offa, he must rub his hands in butter before getting on the field, says Marco. And we have also got there, Japan Ruggers has been below par thought, says Adrian. It has been, but the weird thing is normally it's the World Cup that they manage to fire themselves up and do pretty decently, but now the player is on the stretcher, we do see, and also is on the back of the cart, so we are very close to this match getting back underway, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause, not just from the crowd, but also from the All Blacks players out there on the field. Like I said, you don't want to see any player get injured. It looks like it's a relatively serious one, and he may be out for quite a long time. From what I saw, I think maybe snapped one of his 2 main bones heading down between the knee and the foot, which I should know the names of because I did PE at school and now I've completely forgotten them. Tibia and fibia? No, where are they? They're somewhere else in the body, aren't they? I think one of them's one of the tibia or the fibia is down there. Now making his way off the field. It looks like they might have given him. It might actually be the green whistle. Now, what the green whistle is it's pretty much drugs, but it works really good for when you've got an injury. Portugal apparently did well against Ireland in their training match, says Yvonne. So, yeah, I think they could push them relatively well. What's your opinion on Malcolm Mark's injury? Massive hit for the Springboks, of course. They have got a nice amount of depth, but no player quite the same as Malcolm Mark's in that 2 jersey. Currently, tibia and fibula, or fibia, or fibula, sorry, rather than fibia. So yeah, I think he's probably snapped one of those. He's also got oxygen on at the moment, but I'd assume that is because of how much pain he was in. Melissa said, hi, welcome in. And also we have got their feet was like 90 degrees off, says Franco's. Yeah, so I think what's happened is he snapped one of them and then it's, like, I don't want to go too graphic, but I think then it's kind of just flopped there type thing. Man, all my teachers hated me besides my PE teacher, Hamish. See his audio. Right, the scrum is back on, ladies and gentlemen. The game will play on. 17 minutes into the contest. And now scrum feed for the All Blacks. They did have the ball at the time of the injury. Where can I watch live, says Kiko. Depending on whereabouts you are in the world, will depend on your options. But if you're on the Rugby World Cup website, they actually have a tab that says where to watch. And you can see pretty much everywhere that it's available. And Hamish, you put in the try scorers up today, says Peter. Oh, yeah. We haven't got that down the bottom, do we? We'll go like this. Roygaard times 2. I won't have what time they scored is the only thing. But we'll go like that. There we go. Now a big run from David Hartvilli looking for the pop pass up. Does find Brody Retallick. Now Roygaard going to the left-hand side. Quick hands from Anton Leonard-Brown. Out wide to Luke Jacobson. Quite a few Chiefs in the starting lineup as well here for the All Blacks. Now McKenzie receives it. Goes off to Whitelock. The All Blacks just patiently waiting to find that break in the defensive line. If Retallick got that pop pass up from David Hartvilli, could have been an interesting one. I think he joined this breakdown from the side there, Brody Retallick. But now McKenzie. Another step attempted, but he is taken down nicely in the tackle attempt by, I believe it was Galseb. Now, offload out the back from Ofatoanga Fasi. That's not what people expected. And Luke Jacobson gets close to the try line, 2 metres out now. Roygaard goes across to the right-hand side. Sam Whitelock, experienced veteran, doesn't quite cross the try line either. And it's knocked on. But they were in through the side, Namibia, so now the penalty does go the way of the All Blacks. Roygaard takes a quick dab, slings it across now to Damian McKenzie, who steps, goes through, and he gets the third try of the match now for the All Blacks. It looks like Andre Gomez injury a couple of years back at Tottenham versus Everton. Normally fractures like those take close from 8 months to a year to fully heal. Yeah, it's a massive shame for him as well in his first Rugby World Cup. Damian McKenzie now does manage to get himself the third try of the match for New Zealand. We'll go like that and we'll go like that. There we go. Damian McKenzie adding his name to this try scorers list, which there is a chance that is relatively long by the end of it, but I want to see Namibia try scorers put down the bottom as well, one of their men crossing the try line. And at the moment, I think that either Mouton or maybe Devan Rousseau, I think, is actually going to have a decent crack at scoring, but McKenzie gets a kick over. It's straight out in front of the post and now makes the score 19 points to 3. Why does McKenzie run right to the back? Just dot it down over the line, says Mr. Kiwi. I think he just likes having running meters. Damian McKenzie got a bit excited and then he realised how small the in-goal area was. Yeah, he charged through. Yeah, I think it was just he was dodging the post and trying to cut back inwards. And McKenzie nearly stepped out there as well. And also we have got there New Zealand will win this one, says Johnny. And also to be a amphibia, says John. We have got there as well. Oh, we got a new channel member. Thank you very much, Bradwin. Do appreciate you hitting that button. You now have access to exclusive emojis in the chat, including one of my face looking very confused, which is it most of the time. That's a great kick downfield from the All Blacks. Namibia now will have themselves the line-out throw, about 30 metres out from their own line. Whitelock is the elephant man, a bit clumsy and soft as butter, says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi, and I'm eating salted butter popcorn, maybe from Whitelock. And it's so exciting. Like the popcorn or the rugby roof? Because I guess salt and butter, it's an interesting combo, isn't it? But then there's salted butter. Well, most butter's salted. Unsalted butter's a thing too, isn't it? We have got there, you want them to have 50 points in 20 minutes. Says Sam Wilson. Not ideally. I'd like to see it be a little bit closer as the game goes on. We have got there, Roof Yum, says Caitlin, as well as in there as well. He's not an animal. He's an All Black forward. Says Fluffy, nice backline again. Anton Linda-Brown over the top. It's travelled forward, though, out of the hands. Now, another scrum here for Namibia. We've got no go Namibia go. So proud of you boys. Says soon in there. Yeah, Namibia, they've still got 2 more games left of this Rugby World Cup where they will be taking on Uruguay. They are still chasing their first ever victory in a Rugby World Cup competition. And I believe that game up against the Uruguayans is going to be a very exciting one. You've had buttered salt. Says Stan, I have not personally, no. Well, I guess maybe if I've had salted butter. Just the reverse, isn't it? And hi, everyone here from South Africa, says Rudy. Welcome in, mate. You are doing very well. The rain, I think that's raining sideways. Maybe. So completely different for this game compared to what we saw in round number 1. G'day, lads, says JDB. Welcome in. And also, we've got the All Blacks will win, says TJ. Damian Stevens feeds the ball in now for Namibia. They're currently down by 16 points, but still have a real shot being able to get back into this contest if they can score about now. Best of sour cream and chives with salt, says Caitlin there. This might surprise people. I've never had sour cream and chives chips or anything sour cream and chives flavoured. That could just be because I'm weird. Roygard now goes off to Offa, throwing a fussy 40 metres out from the AB's line. I don't believe we've seen Roygard put up a single box kick as of yet throughout this game. That's going to be the knock-on this time from Offa. Oh, it's Nepolalala this time. Oh. Diving on a ball emerging. The reason it was emerging, Luke, was because the All Blacks knocked it on. So it should be... And the All Blacks taking it quickly. They knew that they may have gotten away with that one. That should have been going the way of Namibia. That one. And just joined first time on your live. What was your score prediction for this game? I believe my original score prediction, I think, was about 76-3 or something along those lines on the original, before we knew the sides or anything along those lines, prediction video. Now Dutton Papali going short to Leicester Whainganuku, close to the try line, drives over, and the All Blacks do get one. Maybe a little bit fortunate with the fact that it should have been Namibia's ball about 50 metres down the field, but Whainganuku will score himself the first try of 2023 World Cup. There we go. We will go like that. We will add him to the list. Still passed out. Says Caitlin there. And also we have got there dogs going bonkers at the Possums. And also, yeah, true, good effort. And also, where's Johan at? Yeah, that's true. He is still passed out. I saw he's been terrorising other comment sections as well, though, not just ours on the rugby side of things. Good result so far. Listening from... Now, it's got CA. Now, that could be Canada, maybe, but if it's not... Oh! He's just managed to hang on to that one. Leicester Whainganuku. That is extremely wetting, that rain. Where's your list of the try scorers? And go New Zealand, says Murray, in there as well. Now, Mackenzie, probability of this kick, he's getting wet, or very damp, from the amount of rain that is falling, but he's still managed to kick it. It's hit the post. It's come back out, though, so actually unsuccessful from Damian Mackenzie. And it will remain at 24 points to 3. Is it supposed to be raining tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, in France? Do let me know. It's absolutely pouring in this match. We have got there, dear folks, like John Kerwin, he seems left field. Says Adrian, I know that he splits opinions in New Zealand. Same with Justin Marshall, though. He is another one that people, some like him, some don't. But absolutely pouring down for this game. I think it's a bit too late for people to be putting on the rain jackets, as they will already be very wet. Now it's kicked off by Namibia, deep into All Blacks territory. Big kick close to the touchline, but well taken by David Arveli, who backed himself to go down the short side, ran out of space, foot was in touch, and now Namibia, they will have to line out from about 12 metres out from the try line. Parmesan and garlic popcorn also tasty, like Kiwi Lads Commentary. Says Ruth, and D-Mac is a shocking goal kicker, especially at international level, says BP. Although, to be fair, the conditions aren't helping him hugely in this match, I would say. And Nisbo Jinx, thanks, mate. Says Audio, and also Namibia have no experience playing anything. They didn't even last in the South African Domestic Cup. Says John. How's Justin Marshall going on Supersport? I haven't actually heard anything about how he is in terms of that commentary role. So far we've seen 19 tackles missed from Namibia. That is a knock-on from Dalton Papali. But first of all, they say that it wasn't straight from Namibia, so it will be a scrum feed now for the All Blacks. Sitting about 15 metres out from their try line. It's going to be a mud wrestle, says Goldberg. Maybe Bowden for the goal kicking, says JDB. No, I think they'll stick with McKenzie in this one. Bowden Barrett, he had a season where he kicked at about 7%, didn't he? So he knows the feeling when they aren't quite coming off the boot the way you'd like. I feel like they've gone from a heat wave to flooding in France. And who are the try scorers? They are Roygaard, he has scored 2, McKenzie, and Whainanoku has scored the other. And Justin Marshall doing very well on Supersport, says George. Now ball available at the back for the All Blacks. They have been told to use it. Roygaard passing across now to the right. Damien McKenzie going for the cross kick. Bowden Barrett sits up him. In fact, it's going to be Caleb Clark now trying to run hard. But he's been taken down brilliantly by Rizzo, who was able to stop him on the halfway line. McKenzie gets that short pass from Roygaard. Goes for the kick in behind, looking for it to curl for a 50-22. It's going to be in the in-goal area, though. So it will be a goal line dropout for Namibia. Have you noticed, guys, wings don't last in New Zealand? Xavier, best wing in the world, then gone, says Adrian. Yeah, it's a pretty contested position in New Zealand overall. And if you do have any more than maybe 3 or 4 years being out on the wing for the ABs, you've done extremely well. But a lot of the time it's injury-based when they do get taken out. And the problem that they've got is as soon as you lose your spot on the side, it's extremely hard to get back in. The commentators over here in England are pathetic. They ain't got a clue. Says Neil, that one's going to be drop kicked out on the full. I believe that now becomes a 5-metre scrum for the All Blacks. I think that's the first goal line dropout that I can think of that we have covered on the channel that's gone into touch on the full. Even though we have covered probably, I'd say, 500 rugby matches since that rule came in, I can't think of one time that a side has kicked it out on the full from that. Normally they try and go for distance rather than kicking it short and looking to retain. Can strength is breaking the gap, which needs slower speed. Says audio and go New Zealand Namibians are a good team, says Vanessa May. They are now going to be 5 metres out. Perhaps this is the time where they decide to try out Ardie Savia off the back of the scrum. And how many points do the ABs need to get up the ladder in this game, says Kevin. So at the moment, the All Blacks are sitting in 3rd. They are behind Italy as well as France. France are sitting at the top on the 8 points, but they have not received a winning bonus point in either of their 2 victories. Italy managed to get themselves to 5, so New Zealand, to get in front of Italy, needed to win this game by, I believe, they're looking at 59 points. If they can win it by 59, they will move into 2nd spot. But they, of course, need the tries alongside that, which should come with winning by 59. And that is going to be now a free kick. I think that time it was against Nepo Lalala. We have got there, this commentary is like a minute ahead of Stand Sport, says JDB. And Ofa Tuangafasi getting a word from Luke Pearce. In fact, he's been marched back about 20 metres for his attitude problem. Jason Ryan, I can read lips, and he just said profanity and more profanity. He wasn't happy with what happened in that one. But the All Blacks getting marched forward about 20 metres because Tuangafasi decided he wanted to have a bit of a jabber with the referee. Now Tokyo, slippery ball scenario there, almost slipped out of his hands just trying to pick it up from the touchline. The line out now for the All Blacks. Does go to the front to Ardie Savia. Back across to Roygaard. Whainanoku, he is off the left wing, the middle of the field. Now Roygaard again, going back to Jacobson, to Brodie Retallick. Savia trying to step through this Namibian defence. Tell you what, someone who we haven't seen in the last little while is Richard Hardwick. We saw him get the first touch of the day. But other than that, we've hardly seen him. Bowden Barrett, nice low tackle made on him by Conradi. Now Retallick cleans it up around his kneecaps. Over the ball for Namibia, not able to get the turnover. McKenzie now looking for the cross kick once more. Out wide to Caleb Clark. Needed to pop that up on the inside to Ardie Savia, but instead takes the contact and does end up almost losing the ball for the AB Savia with a Waikato pass attempted. Goes to Anton Lienert-Brown off the deflection of the Namibian winger. Nepololala, he has dropped the ball, and now it is going to be a penalty won by Namibia, getting over the ball, and it's none other than Richard Hardwick, the man who I just said we hadn't seen much of, gets the turnover penalty. And again, stupid penalty, says Raz, and I've got my radio on with the Afrikaans commentary in the background, and Hamish, the foreground, doing great. Kiwi lads forever, says Roof. And yeah, now's Nepo in the squad. I'll never know, says Zinky, yeah. Injury is probably the best way of describing it, because there are a lot of players that I'm sure they would have liked to have ahead of a few of those guys that they've got, but that kick has gone into touch. About 15 metres out from the line. Ian Foster, Jason Ryan, they're all frustrated. I think Jason Ryan was trying to say it's just because the ball's wet. Ian Foster in his head's probably thinking, why do I make the decisions I do? And lucky, it's Namibia who says audio. It's either Nepo or Offer. A repeat pattern here. I wonder if it's a cultural thing, says Marco. Why do props have the worst ball handling skills, says Expat? Well, that's the thing. Some of them are brilliant with the ball in hand. All you got to do is look at, for one is probably the Irish side. You look at Andrew Porter, Tyke Furlong, what they're able to do when they've got the ball in hand. Brilliant run from Damien McKenzie. Gets the offload away to Harvey. Skip pass out to Bowden Barrett. He's going to try and pin his ears back. Tries his little chip in behind. Roygaard running onto it. He's just not quite going to stop it. Oh, he's just slammed into the barrier as well. He's all right, though. He's got back up to his feet. He's resilient. He's young. It's normally the case, isn't it? Kids throw themselves at walls all the time and they bounce back. You shouldn't do that. Disclaimer, don't throw yourself at a wall if you are young or if you are old. Walls are hard. Hush, Marco. Find yourself in deep waters, says Mumbo Jumbo. And also, geez, he just picked up more and more speed as he slid down the hill. And Bear Kick just screwed up 3 tries already. Says Raz, it's kick long. Now Bowden Barrett across to Damien McKenzie. Does look to put the kick back. And slippery conditions makes it very tricky to be able to take that ball cleanly. What's your opinion on Peter Steph Toy? Very good player. Sometimes can be a little bit ill-disciplined, but then that is always because he's pushing the line between getting that turnover or getting penalised. But yeah, very good player. Physical. A huge individual to have at number 7. McKenzie, wide cut-out pass. Anton Lienert-Brown has slightly overrun it now, going for the grubber in behind. It looks like it's going to work out for him. Kicks it forward once more, and he's going through. Anton Lienert-Brown, the ball will sit up for him. He scores the try. Brilliant bit of individual work from Anton Lienert-Brown. Wolves are hard, says Caitlin. They certainly are. I was going to say about some sort of pun with Anton Lienert-Brown with his scoring. You can't really use hard in a non-weird way, though. Because I was going to say the way that he kicked that was hard because he had to somehow keep it in the field of play with his left boot as he booted it round the fullback with the 2 Namibian players taking each other out. And Lienert-Brown scores a try. Just tuned in. Is it raining? It is certainly bucketing down. But Lienert. Come on. Lienert. Fingers. Right keys, please. There we go. How do you spell Lienert-Brown? I think that's correct. It's a bit of a hard one to spell. And no matter what, we are truly proud of our team. If our team had half the opportunity the other team has, I think my hat goes off to the All Blacks for the amazing spirit and respect they have for our team. Says Vanita in there. And also we have got the Anton with the soccer skills and some Kiwi smiles. Says now Simba, that kick is going to be over from Damien McKenzie, now making the score 29 points to 3. We have got there, I suppose no disrespect, meant that AB supporters are back to believing ABs are the best. Sorry, I wish I had to. Says Stan, no, I don't think they'll say that at all, mainly because of the fact that even in this game for the All Blacks, we've seen probably 6 handling errors, and not just because of the rain. We've seen a few penalties, like not too many at this stage though. We have got there, Namibia can't stop embarrassing Southern Africa. I know one wondered why they participated. Can't even play rugby, says Moller. I think that's completely false. I think Namibia in that last game up against Italy showed that they've got potential. It's just the fact that, the player pool is so small for the Namibians to choose from the get-go. And also the fact that they're still an emerging nation in terms of the rugby world, and it's one of those ones that you can't expect every side, if they haven't got the budget, if they haven't got the players, you can't expect every side to become world champion overnight. It's going to take time, it's going to take funding, it's going to take a lot of hard work. And this Namibian side already have shown that they have got a player pool and a player, I guess just their squad in general, that want to be there, that want to compete. And that's the first step, you know? Are you talking about the brick in the wall? No, she was talking about me telling kids not to run straight at walls because they're solid. Steroids would help. Maybe don't take steroids. Should be 30 points on the ball damage, not 29. It should now be 31, in fact, for the score. There we go. Has updated itself. We have got there. Why is my live chat being disabled? Says Kiwi Sports Studio. As in like this live, no, surely not this live chat. Is that on your channel, Kiwi Lad Sports Studio? I think you've got to have it enabled, which means that you've got to verify your channel, I think. Maybe. Namibia not embarrassing Africa, says Sean Lees. Yeah, it's the complete opposite. The fact that they're playing, if anything, helps African rugby because it gets more eyes on it in some of those other countries. Brilliant run from Roygaard. He thought about running it himself. He gets it off to McKenzie and another try. Those two are working together extremely well at the moment, but we're going to have to add McKenzie onto that try scorers list with the ×2 next to his name. ×2, there we go. McKenzie, second try of the match for him. Pearson, the line, had to refresh 4 times this far. Says Stan and Namibia have beaten Ireland and France a while back, says David Dempster. And Namibia has a smaller population than New Zealand, way less money and barely play any quality opposition. World Rugby only helps the island nations, not the African nations, says LB. Don't run into walls and don't take steroids. That is very good advice, of course. Words to live by. We have got there, we don't need no voice control. Leave us kids alone, says Ruth. JDB has said, Caitlin, let's get a Steinlager after the game. You shot your shot. I mean, I can't really fault you for it, I guess. 50 seconds remaining. We have got their hats off to Namibia, another nation with a small player pool that play with a lot of heart, says Igor. We have got there, McKenzie is on fire, says Demon Slayer. Now Damien McKenzie, yep, that's gone over. 38 points to 3 now. See what happens when they run and not kick, says that guy Jensen. And also we have got their Roygaard got a hat trick, says JDB. Yeah, extremely close to scoring, but unselfishly gave it off to Damien. And now McKenzie and Roygaard both in with a shot of being able to get themselves their hat trick here. I think New Zealand need to adjust to the professional era. Thoughts? Says Adrian. And I think they just need to stop giving away penalties. You know, that's a big one. In all of their games recently, they've given away at least 10. That's a big kick downfield from Lester Whaiananuku of his left boot. We have got their solid run for Cam Roygaard, says Blues Nate, and that is going to be half-time in this game, ladies and gentlemen. 38 points to 3 in favour of the All Blacks. They have scored 6 tries at this point. Roygaard has got 2. McKenzie's got 2. Whaiananuku and Anton Leonard-Brown, all backs, actually scoring the tries for the All Blacks in this game. Thanks, Caitlin, you're so sweet, says Ruth. We have got there, what's the cheer situation, says Yvonne. I'm actually still on the same chair at this stage. I've looked at chairs online, but I think I've got to go into a shop and actually choose one that's good. Namibia Era's game may have been closer, says Arts Robinson there. And in all honesty, the ABs are playing poorly, says Mr. Kiwi for Life. Yeah, they'll look at this first half and they'll still see a lot that they can improve on from this game. We've got another donation from Neo. If Roygaard doesn't make quarterfinals, I'll eat. Okay. Maybe don't do that. Disclaimer. Don't run into walls, don't eat your cat. I feel like there's a list of things we're learning in this live stream. 50 points surely, says Daniel Cox. They should get 50 by the end of this game. And surely New Zealand needs to adjust to the professional era, says Adrian. And then I'm a rum kind of gal, says Caitlin in the chat as well. We'll get some stats up for this game. We've got another super sticker from Vanessa, mate. Thank you very much, Vanessa. You've been extremely generous over the last few live streams. This is greatly appreciated. No New Zealand is in the final, says Demon Slayer. I'm not too sure any other African nation can compete at the Rugby World Cup. Zimbabwe, they're giving Namibia a good go during the Rugby World Cup qualifiers, though, says Sean Lees. And I think Kenya didn't do too badly, if I'm correct, in some of the games of the repechage for the Rugby World Cup as well. And Rum Girls are usually dominant. I'm down with that, says JDB. And we have got their BPI, I agree. But I'm on the other side, unfortunately. Sorry, dude, I'm green. We have got there Caitlin Rum and pineapple with ginger beer. Says Rufen Afrikaans is Dutch with French influence. Flemish is the closest language to it. Looking through at some of the stats for this game, New Zealand, for the possession-wise, they have had 72% of this game. The territory currently sitting 60% for the territory. My heart belongs to Hamish and Ruth. Sorry, JDB. I feel bad, JDB. I feel like I've stolen your lady friend. I did not do it on purpose. I'll mention 432 metres carried for the ABs compared to the 65 in Namibia, although Namibia's winger, I think it was Mouton, actually had a very decent run. I liked what he was able to do. 5 defenders beaten so far throughout this game for the Namibians and 23 defenders beaten for the All Blacks. But the scrums, the All Blacks are 75% scrum accuracy, 2 out of 3 for the Namibians. So actually relatively close. You guys must remember, these players all have day jobs. As a Namibian, I'm very proud of our team. Exactly right. I feel like Namibia, throughout this Rugby World Cup, in terms of what they were able to do up against Italy, in terms of the fight that they have shown in this game at times, it's nothing short of phenomenal. For a lower ranked side to be able to come onto the stage and, you know, just fight. Go out there, try and put on a performance where Namibia ranked. The weakest team in the tournament, says him. They are not the lowest ranked side, I don't believe, but they are near it. There's going to be a game around the corner between them and Uruguay. I think that's going to be an absolutely fantastic one. It may not be a game that some people are looking forward to watching, mainly because they might not know too much about both of the sides, but I highly recommend, from a neutral perspective, anyone who wants to watch a decent back and forth contest, be sure to join us for that stream between Uruguay and Namibia, because it's going to be a pretty awesome one. Thanks, Caitlin. Now I feel like the ABs, out of that South African French vlogging, see as it was JDB. And also we have the one thing for sure is Jace planted that seed in Fiji, so that razor of theirs is lucky, says audio, and he'd heard something about an effed up leg injury. What happened there? Yeah, so pretty much a player ended up, I think he attempted a tackle and his leg, I believe he snapped at least one of the bones in his lower leg and his ankle was facing the wrong way. It didn't look too flash at all, unfortunately, so hopefully, you know, you always hope that it's not as serious as it looked, but it did look like he's going to be out for around 9 months or somewhere around there. Cheer. Even Old Counties wins. Hoskins Sadudu outplayed Cullen Grace. Says Blues Nate, will George be joining you at all for any games, says Xavier? I'm hoping to get him on the live stream for some of the games. At this stage, though, anytime we've had like an early morning game on a Saturday or the best... Yeah, Saturday's tricky because he does... What day are we on? Are we on a Saturday? Yeah, we are on a Saturday. Yeah, whatever day Saturday is, I don't know what I'm saying. He works Saturdays is what I was trying to say in like the weirdest way possible. I have illusions that the AB's team ain't it. Too much uncertainty, but is your green team. I wish them all the best, says BP. And also we have the Toucan Roof in Namibia. Is actually not doing bad. I'm watching. I like that AB scrum half Roygaard, says Francois. Yeah, he's a very good player, Roygaard. We saw him playing extremely well for the Hurricanes throughout Super Rugby Pacific. We have got there Straza said they are useless for the English refs. Looking through at what has happened throughout this game, most tackles made is actually Wian Conradi, the number 6 for the Namibians. 90 metres carried from Bowden Barrett, something that we don't normally get to see from that man too often. Lester Whananuku with the 3 offloads. And also he's had 7 crossed gain line metres runs from himself. And also 18 points so far for Damien McKenzie. We have got there. I was about to engage a conversation. Then you went there. Cheers, mate. I'll be ignoring you. Says Stan. And also we have got there. When does New Zealand think if they beat an amateur team, they're back on track? Says Johan. I don't think I've heard many people saying that they think that they're back on track as of yet. Because looking at the discipline, 4 penalties against the All Blacks compared to the 4 in Namibia, that number should be way more in favour of the All Blacks than it is currently sitting. They've had a lot of handling errors throughout that first half. I think we've seen 2 from Ofatoinga Fasi, 1 or 2 from Nipalulala as well. But yeah, 3 worth of the penalties have been against Whitelock. We have got there from Doomed, who is this muffin in the hoodie. There was a nice young man in the suit commentating the last time I watched on this channel. It was still me. I just haven't got the suit. The jacket's over there, but I haven't got the shirt all ironed and nicely tucked in and whatnot as of yet. But the suit will be back on the next live stream. It is going to be, or not the next one, sorry, on Monday morning. Why is Barrett not playing fly half, says Francois. They like him at fullback. Whether or not that's the right choice, people are still deciding. But, yeah, it's because he's playing at fullback for this game, and they've got McKenzie as that starting team. Why are we so short-sighted? Choose the most talented players. Yeah, we're still learning at this stage in the World Cup. Says Mumbo Jumbo Kiwi. We have got there, Hamish, what are your predictions for the Cricket World Cup? I haven't actually looked at all the squads as of yet. I know New Zealand's looking a little bit light, although they do have Williamson back at this stage, which is good news. And also we've got the AB's execution, not up to spec so far. And also don't mention it, Marco, you're a super cool dude, says Roof. We have got there the green and black rings, South Canterbury. Yeah, I think they're going to be playing today in the Heartland Championship, if I'm not wrong. So a shout out to them. Hopefully they do end up going all right. But anyone who didn't see it, Cam Roigard scoring the first 2 tries of the match in the 2nd minute and the 7th minute. Damien McKenzie 20 minutes into the game and 39. It's where he was able to score his other 2 tries. And then Whainā Nuku 25 minutes in. And Dolina Brown in the 35th. Namibia, they are ranked 21st in the world. And we have got the asking for the AB's fans, which take on Foster. Asking because Farrell has made the difference for Ireland, in my opinion. I think a lot of people, All Black supporter-wise, are looking forward to when Scott Robinson comes in. But then the thing is, people are pretty harsh at times. So if Scott Robinson loses his first 1 or 2 games, perhaps people will start saying that he should be kicked out as well. And thanks, mate, says him. No worries at all. I have ABs by 65 points, says AJS. One day, Hamish will commentary for the South Canterbury games, says Blues Nate. No doubt New Zealand is going to thrash Namibia, says Depeni. Yeah, it did seem like it was going to be one-sided. I've liked what I've seen from Namibia at times throughout that first half, though. I feel like they've still put in a decent enough fight. It's just the fact that anytime they've been close to the All Blacks line, they've just lost that ball, whether that is due to handling or due to a penalty. How's Namibia's forward, says Annoy. We didn't see a huge amount of some of those forwards. I liked what I saw from Richard Hardwick at times when he was able to get that turnover. I only heard and found out about Hamish during this World Cup. Big fan already, says George. And yeah, we're going to be covering every game of this World Cup on the channel. Also, alongside that, I should mention we cover Super Rugby. We cover the URC, some of the Gallagher Premiership, the Rugby Championship, Six Nations, International Rugby, the Sevens as well. We've got a whole heap that we do on the channel. Number 6, great tackle on Barrett, says M. So that would have been Conradi. He's actually made 7 tackles throughout that first half. Is that Hardwick from the Western Force? Richard Hardwick from the Melbourne Rebels. Yep, he is there. I'm just checking to see what my prediction was originally for this game. I know that I had Namibia to score the 3 points, but I'm just checking to see what I had New Zealand scoring in my overall predictions. 72 points to 3 was my prediction. So, I'm not too confident in that one. Well, rugby needs to help African nations become professional, not just the island nations. SARU can only do so much with the resources they have, says LB. And come on, All Blacks, score some more tries and put them in the hungy, says Mr. Learn. But do let me know, ladies and gentlemen, who do you think will be the first try scorer of the second half? I feel like there are a few good options at the moment. Do we throw a plot twist in and say that it could be a Namibian player who scores the first try in the second half? And if so, I feel like Rizzo. I'm still going Rizzo. I should cover the Curry Cup as well. Could be fun. I do actually cover some of the Curry Cup, although last year we did have to miss a majority of that competition due to overlaps, but we did cover the 2022 Curry Cup. I believe we did a majority of those games on the channel alongside the URC at that same time. Leka Hamish, catch you tomorrow at the Bok game. Eat your veggies. You got this, says Francois. And damn, I have the All Blacks by 41 to 50, paying $7. So yeah, that's 2-leg multi, isn't looking good, says the boss. And also we got there Nas Botha, says it was there from Stan Paulson. Clark is like Savia, says Adrian. Yeah, we haven't really seen Artie Savia throughout that first half. We did see a few times where Damian McKenzie, Caleb Clark ended up with the ball, but not too much with Savia. In fact, I don't think we saw a Savia run. I think Namibia will run out of steam in the 60-minute mark. Says Sean Lees and D-Mac for the first try. Says C Fence. Which league do you think is the best in the world at this stage? Top 14 seems to be taking it. Says M. I'll be honest, I cover a lot more of the URC, and I really enjoy that competitive nature between those sides in South Africa against the Irish, against the Scottish, against the Welsh, and then also the Italians thrown in there. But yeah, I'd go, like, in terms of what I enjoy watching, I would go with the URC, although I love watching the top 14 as well. Love your mahi, Hamish. Says Simran there. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated. Yeah, being here. Currently half-time in this game. We've seen the 4 tries. In fact, sorry, that's a lie. We've got to add 2 more fingers. 6 tries being scored by the All Blacks. 2 from Roygar, 2 from McKenzie, Whaina Nuku, and Leonard Brown. The try scorers here. Hey, guys. Oh, hey, guys. Says JJ, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Thanks for the live comms, mate. Says Flanders. No worries at all. And cheers, mate. See you tomorrow, says Devon. And the chat as well. Next try, Bowden Barrett. Says Raven Fuff de Klerk. Messed up Artie. Says Adrian. And I'm off to bed, Hamish. Can't keep my eyes open. See you for the Samoa versus Chile game. Take care, peeps. And I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, we have got 3 games happening just around the corner. And that is going to be Chile versus Samoa, like that was just mentioned. Also alongside that, we've got Wales versus Portugal. And then Ireland versus Tonga, the last game of that day. Then we've got 3 more back to back to back the next day. And we are covering all of them on the channel. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are currently on the road, closing in on 32,500 subscribers. So if you do want to help us get that little bit closer, hit that subscribe button. It is completely free. You will get notified if you turn on notifications, of course, for when we are going live, so you know exactly when all the Rugby World Cup games are taking place. But currently, I'd say another 3 or 4 minutes left of halftime. Then we are back into the action for the second half. It was extremely wet in that first 40 minutes, and I don't see it being any different for the second half. Great job, just subscribed. Says him, thank you very much, mate. And also we have got there, Night BP Kisses. Says it was there from Marco, get rid of Super Rugby. Have 1 global comp, says Floyd King. The only problem with that is the time zones and also the travel schedule that it would be for sides. But I like Super Rugby. I like what it's been able to do for the Fijian side, for the Samoans, Tongans as well. As it has improved their rugby. Hamish enjoys watching the Storm. It's his favourite team. Says it was there from Grant and commentating the Warriors. Says Tame, I have considered it, but I'm worried I'm going to jinx them. So, because I don't want to jinx them, I think we're going to be missing that game. We will probably be watching it, but yeah, I don't want to knock them out of the competition because I've commentated their game. I'd feel terrible if that was the case. Will Blackadder be a step up? Says Mumbo. I hope he's going to be relatively strong for the ABs. It's hard to tell though, because you know, whether or not he slots in straight away and can find that momentum and hopefully avoids injury. That is a big one. It sounds like you got an exhausting weekend ahead, says Caitlin. Yep. Weird hours that I am going to be keeping. I'm going to be on a Northern Hemisphere sleep schedule. I've been going to bed in the early afternoon here in New Zealand, sleeping during the day and then waking up just before it's midnight on a majority of nights, although I was a little bit later today. But the second half back underway. Lisa Whainanoku tackled just inside of his own 22. All Blacks going from left to right here. They were able to score themselves 6 tries in that first half. They'll be looking to increase that throughout the second 40. We've got the Are you only streaming on YouTube? Are you on other platforms? Just YouTube at this stage for ourselves. Now, nice step. Oh, going through there for Namibia. It's going to be Loopster. Oh, sorry, not Loopster. Loopser at number 14. Or 15, in fact. 10. Swanepoel shut down by 2 New Zealand defenders, and they've given away another penalty there, the ABs. A good attack and run. Danny Herber, our awesome legend maestro of the midfield, says Kerno Wick. I can't jinx them. They are the Warriors. You never know with them. ABs need to chill for my Super Brews, says Gareth. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to let me know who you think will be the first try scorer in the second half. Now, I did make the bold prediction. I said that it could be a Namibian, and if it was going to be one, I said it would be Devon Rizzo. Although the only problem they've got in this case is they have kicked it to his wing for the line out, which means he may not get the ball. We have I hope the ABs push on here for my 80-point Super Brew prediction. And Marty Libok is a reincarnation of Nas Botha with his brilliant boots, says Mr. Mo. And Just van der Merwe says Aruf. 3 lineouts lost so far for Namibia, just not quite timing the throw the way that they'd like. ABs were ready for that one, although they weren't ready at the front, so nicely controlled at the back for the Namibians. Now trying to roll this one just a little bit closer to the try line, although now they have been shut down. And for Namibia here, they can't afford to leave that ball in too long. Damian Stevens goes off to the captain there, driven backwards, Dazil. Trying to hold him up. He's got a knee down, so they will have to release. Now Stevens going across again. Good attack and run from Gal Seb. Stevens, short ball. They are in the middle of the field at the moment, Namibia. I don't know what the most phases they have had throughout this game is, but I would assume that it's only about 5 or 6. Looking to add to that here. Stevens with the short ball after Richard Hardwick, tackled by Retallick. That is something we've seen in Super Rugby Pacific before. Another penalty goes against the All Blacks. This time it is Ofa Tuangafasi, penalised for not releasing. You guys are hearing me say his name and Nepululala's every time the All Blacks either drop the ball or get penalised. At this stage, it's not just a coincidence. Namibia, they're going to kick for the corner once again. Rather than going for the 3 points, when you're down by 35, you got nothing to lose. At this point, that kick's gone backwards. So it's going to actually lose the meters, but they have still got the line out. That was a confusing situation. I don't think I've seen a line-out kick that's gone back by that much before, but with the wind and also with the rain, they just wanted to make sure it found touch about 15 metres out from the line now. I think Swanepoel, standout player for Namibia, one of the only pros, says Adrian. He does play as rugby for the Lions in South Africa. Now Torsten van Jasveld. Oh no, that ball slipped out of their hands, and unfortunately for him, it's not straight. The All Blacks now will have themselves the scrum. And Jimmy O'Brien, where you from? Says Stan, and also we're going to bring back a proper rugby ball, says Goldberg, and Swanepoel sounds like a South African surname. Well, he does spend his time playing in South Africa. So many dumb penalties, says Reyes. Also, we have got there less substitutes in rugby, says John. The crowd is cheering Zambia, says Hanoi. Now 36 minutes remaining. They are just talking about it in terms of the benches, when they are going to make that decision to go to their bench. They've got Richie Moonga, they've got Rico Ioane as well as another option in that back line. The replacement of Aaron Smith, so huge amount of experience in those 3 positions. There can be no comparison between Namibia and South Africa. Namibia is not bad, says Mohammed. Exactly right. Like, at the end of the day, it's completely different for these two sides in terms of the amount of resources that they have, the amount of players that they've got to pick from. Namibia in this World Cup, though, they've still shown moments of heart. That is going to be another penalty, this time going the way of the All Blacks. So did that fella for Namibia break his leg? It is expected that he has broken some part of the lower leg. It could end up being maybe an ankle break instead, but the way that he was holding it was around his shin. So yeah, doesn't look too flash for him. Probably going to be out for around a year while he does recover from that. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's not as serious as it looked, but it's looking bad. Talkiaho thrown to the front to Brody Retallick. 2 Chiefs players working as one. Relatively well held by Namibia here. The All Blacks not able to match at all forward. So Talkiaho has to go off the back. Now to Roygard. Sling and pass off to Harveli McKenzie. Skips to go to Bowden Barrow. One more to Caleb Clark. Looking at the corner now. But he bumps off one tackle attempt of Rizzo. 35 metres from the line now for the All Blacks. Back to McKenzie. Almost looked like he was setting up in the pocket there. Jacobson to Leonard Brown. Harveli's got numbers. Tuangafasi. He's caught the ball, but he's passed it forward. I praised him too early. It's a pretty rough looking pass. But, what? Wait, they haven't called that as forward. Okay, now they've got the options. We have got there, ask it to play props, says Fluffy. Also, we have got there, Flip Man. You guys effed up against France, says Adrian. An awful pass, says Raz. Yeah, Tuangafasi is showing maybe you shouldn't be in that back line. In a fast break scenario. A good run forward from Bowden Barrett. Go to Caleb Clark on his outside. That was where the opportunity arose for the ABs. But Tuangafasi just not getting that pass right. We have got there, mind you, he looks like a shadow of his former self, says Mumbo Jumbo, now past. It's going to be turned over at the line-out time, so Savia now for the ABs. Has got position back, McKenzie. Goes to hard belly, goes for the chip in behind, sets up for Caleb Clark. He's lost his footing, tries to get back up, and he's wrestled into touch. Brilliant defence from Namibia. Oh wait, are you streaming the game on Discord or something, says the big the boss? We are not, no, just doing commentary, watching it on Sky Sport 1. For us here in New Zealand, I am Rose, says Michelle. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Caleb Clark, he's done well to get his hands on the ball, just lost the footing though. Centre of gravity, the muscle mass at the top half of his body was just pushing him closer and closer to the ground. And then great bit of work from Rizzo to be able to wrestle him out. This is actually a very good showing for a bunch of amateurs against the ABs, says LB. And it's been the talk of the World Cup is these lower ranked sides pushing some of the big teams, whether or not that's Uruguay in their game up against France, whether that's Chile against Japan in their first ever Rugby World Cup. WGF was that pass, says Sam Wilson. It looks like Fletcher Noel is about to make his way onto the field alongside Ethan de Groot. 2 changes the ABs will need to make. Yeah, and would Caleb make them a Namibian team, says Gareth? I'd say so. I don't think he's been too bad this game, Caleb Clark. Overall, like, he couldn't really do too much wrong or too much better in that scenario, seeing as the pass was a bit too far out in front. Almost charged down by Retallick and Whitelock, but a clearing kick from Tien Swanepoel does put it down to now the 22-metre line. A New Zealand all-point took tonight. Game bonus points also, says Michelle. Yep, they have got themselves the 5 points now, just looking to increase their points differential. I will mention if New Zealand win this game by 59 points or more, they do walk away from this game finishing in second place after round 2 in the Rugby World Cup. That will be ahead of Italy. Do have a bye this week though, so that is the other side of things. Now, rolling ball here for the All Blacks. They have got themselves that penalty advantage. Looks like the knees have gone down there. Roygaard sees the option on the right-hand side. Goes to Savia. Short ball. Ethan de Groot scores as soon as he makes his way onto the field. It's not often you see a prop out on the wing, or at least a prop that is able to catch the ball, but de Groot has managed to get himself the try. That is the first of the second half for the All Blacks. The big Southland Stags boy puts his antlers up. And that is his first Rugby World Cup try. Chile might be Samoa, says Anoi. And Shock Gruder, Southland, proud brother, says the boss. And here he comes. I'm de Groot, says it was there from Blues Nate. Brilliant bit of work. Artie Savia, quick hands out to Ethan de Groot. De Groot just comes on and boom. And AB's reckon, says Caitlin there. And Groot says SG. And Samoan rugby players eat steaks for breakfast, says Mr. Mo. It's a decent breakfast, isn't it? A bit of high protein. Good fats in there as well. Now McKenzie lining up this kick. We've got there, de Groot is Dutch, lol, says Adrian. We have got there, Samoans do like chili foods. I'm Samoan, says JDB. Doesn't quite bring that one back enough, Damien McKenzie. So the score will remain at 43 points to 3. Really, you guys go on. Really, this team is now not the Springboks. We will eat you guys up, says Joseph Weber. Okay. So I assume because we're not talking about the Springboks as well, you're annoyed, Joseph, even though the Springboks are not playing in this game. And I think a lot of people would prefer if I talk about the game that's on rather than the Springboks. We are covering the Springboks, though. We are covering their game up against Romania. We will be talking about them as well. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting. See how the side of the pool does finish. Nice work from David Harvili there. 15 metres out from the line. Roygaard now passes it across to Luke Jacobson. All Blacks looking solid tonight, says Michelle, although they have still had their fair share of errors, whether that's handling or penalty count, which has been those two things for the All Blacks that has been hurting them in recent time. That guy must be a hardcore bot fan, says Annoy. Although it's quite common that I get told that I should be talking about a team that's not playing in these games, which is weird, you know, but we try our best to talk about all the teams, mainly when they are playing, but outside of it as well. We have got there Springboks such attention seekers, says JDB. No, they're confident in their team's ability, I'd say. They want to see them do well. Do rugby players speak lots of foreign languages? Depends on the player. I know that a lot of the guys who head to Japan do learn Japanese. Some of the guys who head to France do learn French. I only know about 3 words of France. I accidentally called myself a woman the other day when I was trying to say things in French. That's a penalty to Namibia. The New Zealand players leaving their feet. Namibians are South African, says Stan Bolson. But I'll still spear him in the gut, says Audio. Even now without marks, says Hanoi there. Yeah, I mean, Malcolm Marks, huge hit to the side, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do go with Bongi on Manambi. Also having Dion Fori, is the man who's coming off the bench. It's going to be a good kick downfield from Namibia. We have got there as well, Caleb Clark is no good. Says Mr. Kiwi for life. Not looking too bad in this game, I'd say, for Caleb Clark. He hasn't quite stepped up the same way I would have liked him to, though. Dane Cole's now making his way on. That is for Samasoni Taukiaho. I reckon we will win this. Says Sullivan, this game is the All Blacks. They've got a very good chance. They do need, what was my score prediction? 73 or 60, 68-3, was it? No, I can't remember. It was 72-3 was my prediction for this game. So we'll see whether or not we can get there. Marks isn't replaceable, says Adrian, although it depends on who they bring in. If they bring on Hondre Pollard, some would say that maybe that is a pretty decent swap because they will be able to use Pollard in their backline. There will be a knock-on from Gal Seb. New Zealand now once again will have themselves another scrum. Cam Roigard reminds me of TJ Perenara. We have got there. South Africans are very passionate fans. You should hear us in front of the TV, says George. Does Caleb Clark not have a fend? Useless, says Neo69. We had quite a few scrums throughout this second half. We have got the really is Irish non-binary, says John. And okay, getting confused now. Some articles are saying Gold Coast and some are saying Gore. But he did live in Invercargill and went to Southland Boys High School. So the East Tier School for Sports down there, says the boss. Cam Roigard feeding the ball in. He has still only got himself the 2 tries. Now I know that him and Aaron Smith, Damian McKenzie, they both want their hat trick in this game. They still have to wait that little bit longer. Big scrum from the All Blacks. They have now got themselves the penalty. Abanajati Savia breaks off the back. Thought about the offloading option to Luke Jacobson, but will go against it now. Roigard back across to Havili. Leonard Brown, skip pass out to Bowden Barrett. Breaks through one, goes on the outside to Whainā Nuku. Breaks through one tackle, but is dragged down 10 metres out from the try line. Now Barrett, attack and run, goes off to Dalton Papali. And he goes through the defence and scores another try now for the All Blacks. And that is actually the first try scored by a starting forward in this game. Papa Lee. There we go. It's one of those names you got to make sure you're getting your P in the right place. Rugby is the closest thing to hunting woolly mammoths with your mates, says JJ. And also we have got there, can't wait when the Springboks meet you guys. Rassi has something special for you guys. I know him, says Joseph there. Cool. That AV's the best. Woo! Says Ric Flair. And also we have got there DBOK, says John. It's probably half Samoan, says Hanoi. That kick has gone over. Now 55 minutes in, is going to make this score now 50 points to 3 Turbros, says Matt. And also we have got there as well, it's probably half Samoan. I think he's got Samoan roots somewhere along those lines. Come on, Roigard, any more points? Says Grant. And what does Dane Coles look like? A crooked cop? Says M. I don't think he'd be able to be a crooked cop because I feel like he'd be more, like the way that he plays on the rugby field, he'd be more of the guy committing the crime than the guy arresting someone for it. So it's just the way he plays, isn't it? Great commentary. Nice and emotionally. Thank you, says Adrian. Thank you very much. We have got there, you folks must miss Frizzell, says Adrian, although I think he's going to be coming back next week, if I'm not wrong, or the week after, because the ABs have got that rest week. Now McKenzie having to try and bump out of the tackle attempt of Unevi. Now Roygaard getting told to put it back into the pocket. Beauden Barrett kicking off his right boot. Let's get it into touch. Over there, Doltz hits it for 6. Says JDB. And also, do you think we can beat Tier 1 teams without De Groot and Lomax? Says Vinny. It's a tricky one because, without Lomax has shown a real problem, I guess you could say, in terms of the way that the All Blacks have been up front. But now that he's about to be back, they have to make sure that they don't have him injured when he just comes back. 72-3 could be bang on. Says Johnny, tell you what, if I got the exact score line right, I would be a very happy man, mainly because I get nothing right in terms of predictions. Normally I'm a mile off. I think I predicted France to win by 40. That did not happen in their game up against Uruguay. Now, Namibia going off to the right-hand side. Good low tackle made on him by Dane Coles, and the penalty does go to the way of the All Blacks. And I predict the All Blacks fans will believe ABs can win the World Cup halfway through this game. LMFAO, a great coverage, James. Thanks, says Stan. I haven't seen too many people saying the All Blacks have the World Cup one. I've heard, the interesting part is I've heard more people say that the Springboks are winning the World Cup on this live stream than the All Blacks are winning this World Cup on this live stream. And the All Blacks are the team playing, so yeah, it's interesting. I feel like there's a lot of excitement as we get closer and closer to those group stages, and teams are going to be supported in different ways. I know that for a lot of AB supporters, they've seen 50 points on the board here, but they haven't seen a side that can go far in this World Cup yet, because they're still having their handling errors, still giving away penalties. We have there what's happening. You are wearing a suit and tie today, Hamish, says Jeffrey, so we are going to be wearing it on Monday. I haven't heard from Roof in a while, hashtag too much popcorn. So just a reminder to like and subscribe for the awesome commentary, says Caitlin there. Is that the first time anyone's ever used a hashtag too much popcorn? Maybe not even just on these live streams, but in general. But now Roygaard, another step, finds the short pass. Havili will go over for another try. And both centres now getting themselves one in this game. And I don't think they'll be too far away from making that sub of Rico Ioane get out onto the field soon. In 24 minutes to score 33 points, says Fleshin. And also we have their Bock all the way, says Brenty B. And also we have got the ABs better step up, says Adrian. I need an answer, please. Why don't the Box and Namibia not play against each other? Surely the names will get better going forward, says Herman Kutsia. That's a good question, because I feel like they don't... Sevens they may, but not union side of things too often, I don't believe. And I'm proud of my country, says Name Trader. And also we have got there, that's because there's no such thing as too much popcorn, says Caitlin. You may have a point there. That kick is successful. Now 57 points to 3. Your opinion on Andre Estes, and I think he's an absolutely phenomenal talent. I'm glad to see that he's in the starting lineup here. I thought he was a little bit unlucky to miss out on selection for that first game, seeing as I would say out of him and Damien de Allende, Andre Estes is more in form, but they went with the experience. And there in high says Toby, welcome in. Now Boyson makes his way onto the field. That is for Richard Hardwick. And so whoever goes going All Blacks is going All Blacks bad, says Wian. Nice. And now it's going to be, I thought that was knocked on from the All Blacks. Now Cam Roygaard passes back across to the right-hand side. Beauden Barrett does the pop pass off to Damian McKenzie. Caleb Clark kicking off the left boot. That's something you don't see too often, is Clark with the kicking tee. Or not even the kicking tee, just with the kicking boots on. It's going to be put into touch by Lobsur. And that is now going to make the All Blacks about 22 metres out. I bet Makora is even, or is better to win it all. Is better to win, or then all the All Blacks now, even at his age, says Sullivan. Try assist for Roygaard, more points, says Grant. But now Beauden Barrett will be making his way off the field. That is for Richie Moonga. So I guess that big question mark is whether or not McKenzie drops to fullback now. Namibia just given up the ghost. They are standing around. At least Romania put up a fight to the end. Disappointing, says Brian. Can you put a minute count up? So it is that one that says 61 in the second half. There was a big shot in the middle of the field on Anton Leonard-Brown. Now Lester Whainanuku. And he almost held up by Namibia. Their two wingers. Now Roygaard, pop pass up. Dane Coles. Hurricanes players being evident. And that's going to be the penalty. We have got the guy is back, says Caitlin. And also Roy Gard is on fire, young blood, says Goldberg. And okay, All Blacks win. Them 100, says Wien there. Wait, Wien said, okay, All Blacks win cup, them 100. 3. As in, like, you've got to bet on them to win the World Cup for 100. Up to Was, says Neo 69. Of course, they have got themselves their big match coming up later on today for the NRL playoff matches. Box versus Namibia versus Zimbabwe versus Kenya. Says Blues Nate, but now right in the corner, 10 metres out. Chance for Namibia, and the crowd are now firing up their voices. They want to see one try from the underdogs here. And the whole of the stadium has erupted in applause now. Can they get it right? It is going to be the replacement Van der Vesterhuizen. It is thrown in straight. That is step number 1 for Namibia. Now, the All Blacks have halted. This rolling maul doesn't look like it's going too fast at the moment. So they may be told to use this very soon, and it looks like it will be Damian Stevens who takes it off the back, going to the left-hand side. Rushing up was Richie Mo'unga, was just onside. Stevens now. Pass up to the replacement lock. Advantage against the All Blacks for being offside. Now Stevens goes back to Van der Vesterhuizen. Couldn't quite find his offload away in the tackle attempt of Havili. Tian Swanepoel passes out wide. Offloaded attempted by Namibia. They'll have to go back for the original penalty. We have got there Alistair Kutsia asking another 57 to the ABs. Says Gareth. And is Kane still injured? He is at the moment. He did have those back spasms, so I think they're just watching him for now, making sure that it's not going to be anything more serious. It looks like they're going to kick this one for the touchline. I don't know if that's the best option. Oh, he's got a good kick, though. I was worried that it could go backwards like the last one. After the World Cup, we go back to video games. Says CJ, well, after the World Cup, we're straight into the 7 circuit as well as the URC taking place. We might be playing a little bit of some rugby gaming along the way, definitely with the new game coming out in January. Come on, Namibia, you play like schoolboys rugby. Says Vian there. I feel like they haven't done too badly overall, Namibia. And like we said earlier on, with the amount of players that they've got to choose from, everything along those lines, they're actually still doing a lot better than some anticipated. That is once again claimed by Juanivi. Looking to roll. And this one might have just made about 2 centimetres towards the try line. All Blacks defending it well. I think that may have... Where's the ball gone? I think it's stuck in there somewhere. Namibia trying to get it out the back. The All Blacks have been able to shut it down, but breaking off the side, it's a knock-on for Namibia, 1 metre out from the All Blacks line. And now the All Blacks looking to counter. Caleb Clark gets it off to Leonard Brown, who will put the kick downfield. McKenzie chasing after it, but the ball rolls into touch. We have got there no FPS streams, says Caitlin. FPS. Is that frames per second? Is that the right terminology? We have got the gaming channel, which we could look at. For one, I remember we played Far Cry, except we weren't very good. We just kept on getting shot, which is not ideal. Is there 7s on right now, says the boss? Not quite, but in December is when the 7 circuit will be starting back up. 8 legs, all being covered on the channel as well. So anyone who is news, or not news, but new, first-person shooter. We could do. I'm not the best at them. I normally panic, and then like if I go around a corner and someone's there, I jump and just get scared. Make the numbers clear at the line out, says Luke Pearce. Kiwi Lad with Game and Talk, says JDB. And our line out throw for Van der Vesterhuizen again. Namibia actually getting themselves a decent amount of possession over the last about 10 minutes or so, which is slightly surprising because it did seem like in the later stages we thought that the All Blacks would be the side with a lot more of the ball. It sits up nicely for Namibia, currently on the halfway line. A long way to go before getting their first try. We've got their All Blacks knocked down in the corners. Quarters very embarrassing, says Quiz. Kicked them behind, just inside of the 22. Mo'unga calls the mark. It's a little bit overcooked there from the Namibian kick. Now Luke Jacobson passes across the fire. Nuku, he's knocked the ball on. And that is going to be the penalty to Namibia. Do they go quickly? They certainly do now. And Seymour, tell you what, Richie Mo'unga once again rushing up like a madman. But Vai over the ball, they get the penalty. That wasn't the right choice from the man off the bench. Vai manages to get the turnover. Ended up isolated himself. We have got the All Blacks looking hot, says Mr. Lerm. How much time left, says Arnold. At the moment, we've got 15 minutes remaining in this contest, ladies and gentlemen. 65 minutes through. It's kicked downfield by the All Blacks. And well, I'm impressed. We have got the All Blacks 72-3, says Jason. And the All Blacks shake down Smackdown. We have got the, I'm going to say, Jacques Berger, says Andre. Vai only recently making his way onto the field as well. I believe that was for, I think that was for Papali'i, if I'm not wrong. And now Cam Roigard, brilliant performance from him. I would say close to man of the match in this game. Cam Roigard, who Mo'unga replaced. He came on the field for Bowden Barrett. So they've currently still got McKenzie and they've currently got Mo'unga both out there on the field. Now looking to get the rolling ball going for the All Blacks. Dane Coles situated at the back with the ball in hand. They've been told to use it once. Smith now pops the short ball up. Another offload there to Leonard Brown. Havili plays half. Mo'unga thought about the cross pass, then goes for the kick. McKenzie looking to get it. Clark is the one that it sits up for. And Caleb Clark gets his first try of the Rugby World Cup. It was the cross kick from Richie Mo'unga. A bit of magic there from him. Clark had to wait patiently for that ball to stop bouncing awkwardly. We have got that. Come on, Namibia. Just one try, please, says Georgia. Come on, Namibia. Dig deep, boys. Says Wayne. Or I'll change it to dig deep anyway from what was put. And what a privilege to play against New Zealand, says Adrian. And yeah, it's one of those ones that a lot of these players, they'll look at this as an opportunity that they may have never got. You know, getting the chance at a World Cup squad. Some of these guys not playing a lot of professional rugby and now getting the chance to play up against the All Blacks, getting to play in a Rugby World Cup more so. Absolutely massive for them. Caleb Clark gets the ball down. And good job not dropping the ball, Caleb, says Fluffy. That's McKenzie on at fullback, says the Blacks. Mona, I believe they have made that little bit of a switch there. So McKenzie has gone back and Mo'unga has come into that first 5 role. And Cam Roigard is awesome. He's going to have a great career, says Calvin Harris. Exactly right. Your opinion on Marty Libok? I think people were way too harsh on him. If he kicks well, people love him. If he kicks badly, people hate him. But at the end of the day, what he does off the ball in terms of being able to, on the ball with the cross kicks, with the passes, even if he has a bad kicking accuracy, I still think that he's well and truly up there. But that is a good kick from Damian McKenzie. Has ended up going over. And that will now make the score 64 points to 3. We have got there goes my multi. Says the boss in New Zealand finished second in their pool and drop out in the quarterfinals. Says Kill Switch. And also Amani, great attacking player, says George. Yeah, and I think people are very harsh on him because of that kicking percentage. But outside of it, he's still world-class player and definitely a bright future for him just around the corner. Now it is going to be kicked high from Namibia. Nicely taken by Sam Whitelock. Just out from the All Blacks own 22 here. Smith back across to Fletcher Null. One of the replacement props for the ABs. Fair enough, says Adrian. And also we have got there New Zealand versus France. Still my prediction for the final. Woo, says Ric Flair. And thanks Tony, says Stan. And Caleb Clark going to go to the Rabbitohs when they make the rebuild now. Damian McKenzie joining the line. Kicks off the left boot. That's going to keep on going forward. A whole heap of speed on that. Overcooked at McKenzie by a few metres. And come on, Namibia, says it was Trader. And great commentary, says Skill Switch. Thank you very much, mate. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is absolutely hugely appreciated you all being here. We are getting closer and closer to 32,500. So if you do want to help us get there and you are enjoying what we're doing here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. This razor style working. Says audio there. And Sam Kane happy. Says Adrian Hugo. Sam Kane, he's not playing in this game. Are you talking about like outside of this game? Is that in the squad? We have got there this razor style working, says audio. And Ruth should be a mod, Amish brother. She's awesome. Is she not a mod? I feel like we've got a few of the regulars that I thought were mods that haven't actually got the spanner that we'll have to look at some stage in the future. We have got the Ric Flair bot for the win. And also we have got a donation from Stan. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciate it. And yeah, Hamish says Blues Nate. And there as well. Now Namibia with an attacking opportunity inside of the All Blacks half. Good run forward from Tian Swanepoel. Just didn't quite have that next passing option. Short pass to Finta Vesterhuizen. Topavai again. Trying to get onto the ball. Stevens has to get in there and keep it on the side of the Namibians. Nice run from Lobsa. And number 15 for this game, Tian Swanepoel goes for the kick on behind. McKenzie is back to be able to cover. And he does just allow that ball to go into the in-goal area. Forces it down. And it will now be a goal line dropout for the All Blacks. We have got there what the heck is ZAR. Some due money. So that is South African Rand for Stan there. Lobster is pronounced Lobster. Says Andre. And Sam Kane is injured and won't be back for a few weeks, says Daniel Cox. Yeah, it's due to the back spasms that he has got for himself currently. So he was initially supposed to be in the starting lineup for the game up against France, but it was the last minute change. And they had to make penalty this time, goes the way of the All Blacks. But like I said, Namibia have had a lot more of the ball since New Zealand have made quite a few of their changes. We have got this, New Zealand fans obviously very happy. I don't think so, because this looks like it's going to be a card to Ethan de Groot, and that's going to be more than likely a red card to Ethan de Groot here. Could end up being a 3-week ban. We've seen what Ofatoinga Fasi's done in this game, and that is nothing, so they don't want to lose de Groot now. Look at their red card, maybe says Annoy. Doesn't look too flash for the Namibian player. Yellow says Adrian, and good red too. Says audio and red card, says him. They are just checking this one, Ethan de Groot. It's just a stupid challenge, really. You're 71 minutes into a game that you're winning 64 points to 3. Why do you have to try and tackle a guy on his head? And Butt would beg to differ in the quarter, Hamish says audio. Yeah. He's turned. It's going to be a yellow with the X, and more than likely it will be upgraded to a red, I would think. And Aaron Smith must sit bench. Says Donica. So it reaches the yellow card threshold. And now they will be looking upstairs. Did he hit him with his shoulder blade, says Gus. So he ended up turning like this, hitting him with that part. And Ethan de Groot, they'll have to make that decision. But after scoring himself a try, it's a bit of an anticlimax with what he has done there. Is he important prop for New Zealand? It's very important, because Ofatoinga Fasi, he dropped the ball a lot today and also ended up getting himself penalised quite a bit. That was a stupid tackle, as you said. No need for it, says him. And also, we have got there, what is the time, says Berenice. At the moment, it is sitting at 72 minutes through this game. Namibia now a perfect opportunity against 14 men to be able to go and get themselves a try. If that goes red, it's fairly stupid from New Zealand, says Stan. We have got their shoulder, was targeting the shoulder, but arms were tucked, says audio. And also we have got their thanks, you guys. You're so awesome and kind to love you, says Ruth. Now Finta Vesterhuizen. Chance now for Namibia. 5 metres out from the line. Thrown in nicely to the front and claimed by it would have been Yanevi. 10 metres out from the line. New Zealand able to rush up now due to Namibia losing meterage. That was silly from, I believe it was the captain there, Dazelle, tried to go for a grubber in behind. It ends up going straight into the hands of the All Blacks. And now Namibia's chance of scoring has been taken away. McKenzie trying to break through the line. He's done quite nicely there, although he's now just given the ball back to Namibia again. Now Sethi, the replacement Lucy prop, is his own run. Jacobson making the tackle. 20 metres out. Stevens. Now the grubber. They're obsessed with the grubber here, but it hasn't worked out again, although the ball is loose. Tian Swanepoel tries to get back up. Dane Coles forces it dead. So it is going to be a 5 metre scrum now for Namibia. Hopefully New Zealand don't sell, says Finn. We have got their WGF is Mackenzie doing. And also we have got their thanks for the vids, says James. No worries at all. And we have got plenty more coming on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new to the channel. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are closing in on 32,500. So if you do want to help us out before the end of this live stream, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. And we got plenty more action coming in the near future. Both New Zealand and the Block will watch from home, says Race. And also, looks like Namibia making another change here. D-Mac is not a starter material, says Mr. Kiwi for life. It's actually been since they made the changes and added Moonga into the starting lineup is when Mackenzie's actually been playing worse, interestingly enough. So I'm wondering whether or not you just can't have both of those guys in the same back line. I think you will be close with your score prediction, says Daniel. Yeah, my prediction was 72 points to 3 in favour of the All Blacks. Oh, yeah, I've got there more first time watching a game while listening to your commentary, and it's way more fun, says him. But yeah, we will be here for all the World Cup games. Also, URC, Super Rugby, all of those other competitions around the world. We do cover on the channel. Yeah, it is always a lot of fun having the people in the chat, being able to chat all throughout the game. The All Blacks look like they're confused about who they had to bring on and off. I see that Tuanga Fassi, he has made his way on because they need another prop. And Luke Jacobson has made way. Have we heard anything on the Garuda card? Not yet. Normally it takes them about maybe 4 or 5 minutes, but we should know before the end. Very silly to group. This will be the main talking point, so unnecessary, says George. And yeah, I said about it. When you're 72 minutes into a game and winning by 61 points, you don't need to tackle high. Just tackle lower, and then you won't get yourself in any kind of bother. Oh yeah, I've got there. Thanks for the great commentary once again, sir. Enjoyable, says Stan. Still 6 more games over the weekend that we will be covering on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Luke Pearce telling both sides to hurry up. 7.5 minutes remaining of De Groot's yellow, so he will not be out on the field either way. If you are from New Zealand, you aren't 100% behind the ABs at this point. You're just sad. Don't complain, just hope and pray and yell at the TV, says David. And also thank you once again for the live commentary, says BJ. 5 meters out. And it's going to be the youngster Damian Stevens to feed the ball. And all Namibia need is to get this ball out the back as soon as possible. And it's popped up. Oh, Damian Stevens put the ball down. And it was a nice, easy pass to him as well. Now Whainganuku goes off to Damian McKenzie. Runs out of space on the short side, but now boots it way downfield here. Looks like Sam Whitelock is the man chasing after this one for the ABs, although now he's starting to gas out. He's going to do his heel or his calf if he's not careful, but he's been able to help cut off the running attack from Namibia. Stevens. Bag run forward for Sethi. Dalton Papali trying to get the turnover in the breakdown. He is unsuccessful. Now Stevens puts up the box kick for himself. Nicely taken by Damian McKenzie. Wrestled down. All Blacks trying to protect that one. Vindervestes and was asking the question whether or not he was allowed to go for the ball. The referee says no. Now Papali on the short side. Moves up to the halfway line. Smith gets it off to the left. Tupovai. Straight run from him. Now only 4 minutes remaining. Scott Barrett, his first carry since making his way off the bench. Off a Tuanga Fassi back out there due to De Groot's yellow card. Now Smith to the short side. Damian McKenzie goes off. Flat pass from Caleb Clark. Look partially forward. Smith again goes back across to Fletcher Null. Still on the halfway line. This is better defence from Namibia, not allowing the ABs to pierce their way through. Moonga drops the ball. Does manage to regather, losing about 15 metres in the process. Has knocked the ball on in the breakdown. Referee still says play on. Now, the All Blacks still have got themselves the ball here. Fletcher Null with another carry. Seems like the All Blacks almost considering a kicking option there from inside of their own half rather than running it. Although first they will go McKenzie. Wide cut out pass to Lester Whainganuku. Trying to break on the outside. Inside ball to Rieko Ioane. Huge amount of pace for him. Breaks through one tackle and will go all the way to score the try, Rieko Ioane. The AB's a 61-minute or 60-minute game this time rather than a 40-minute team. Says it was Paul Henry. And New Zealand still getting the last try. They certainly have. They've managed to cross the line. It's Rieko Ioane for the ABs. There we go. And that will now take the ABs up to 61 on the board. We have got their try, please. Namibia just leaving that gap in behind. Missed tackle from Tian Swanepoel, hurt him. We have got there. Really, damn, you guys already won the World Cup. Says Joseph in there as well. There's still a lot of work on for the All Blacks. That kick has gone over from Damian McKenzie, so now it is 71 points to 3. Now, my prediction before the game took place, it was 72 points to 3 for the full-time score. I have a feeling, though, that the All Blacks will try and get one more try before the end of this game, though. Your prediction is quite close, says Dark Scar Flame. And also, they'll need 8 points against the French. South Africa will be top of Pool B, says Stan. If it's a 3-week ban. Oh, here we go. The captain's getting called over. This is the decision here. Does Ethan de Groots stay as a yellow, or will it become a red card? If it becomes a red card, he will probably be missing the next 3 weeks. It's been upgraded to a red card. Ethan de Groot now, he will have to wait to see whether or not he is getting 2, 3, or maybe even 4 weeks for his suspension. What an idiot. 1 point try will do it, says Fluffy. I told you 71-3, says Envar. An easy dubs for the All Blacks, says Finn. And also red card, says Mum. So it is the first red card that we have seen of the weekend. Well done, New Zealand. We love you from Springboks fan. Can't wait to get you guys in the final, says Joseph. And there are now quick hands from the All Blacks again. David Arvili going now on the outside to Caleb Clark. Big Finn coming in there on Rizzo. McKenzie tackled there by the replacement 22. Ball almost pops out and it's a Namibian penalty in the breakdown. Red card now, says Paul Henry. And lucky I was wondering when the winners would score. Regards to Mum from Brunei Kiwi Mum, says Deanna there. Or Diana, I should say. And also great by the ABs, but I would have liked a bit more, says Calvin. And also we're getting more penalties than ever in this World Cup, says David Vickers. And that is why a lot of New Zealand supporters aren't as confident as I guess some people anticipate that they would be. They're still giving away a huge amount of penalties, still having quite a few handling errors along the way, although the handling has actually been better in this game than some of the times that they're played in dry conditions. Why aren't you updating the scoreboard and clock, Hamish? Because the score and the clock is correct at this stage. It's 71-3 with 79 minutes gone on the clock as we currently sit. It's gone over the top now from Van der Vesterhuizen. Namibia have been able to clean that one up. Only 30 seconds remaining now in this game. Van der Vesterhuizen with another run. He's actually been very good off the bench. Now short ball on the near side. He decides to go himself, Rizzo. He had the man on his outside but didn't want to go too close to the touchline. Now Dane Coles gets over the ball, manages the turnover, and now with 6 seconds remaining, the All Blacks, it's going to be knocked backwards by Havili, who will kick the ball into touch. And that will be the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. 71 points to 3. It's probably going to be the closest I will ever get to predicting a score correct when I said it was 72-3, but we are 1 point off. The All Blacks getting themselves their first win of the Rugby World Cup. Finley Christie is out for me, says Jimmy O'Brien. Yeah, it's got to be Smith and Roygaard. I feel like that is the best combination that they can have. And here says James and Cam Roygaard up the Canes, man of the match. Says Blues, Nate and cheers, Hamish. I got my New Zealand by 68, says Gareth. And he should have passed it, says Annoy. And I says Jacob, yeah, it would have been a perfect opportunity for Yanevi. Down the wing, could have had the chance. Why is our discipline so poor, says C Fence. It's a great question, and it's a really tricky one to answer because it's for things that normally you wouldn't want to give away. You know, it's not so much scrum time. They don't give away a huge amount of penalties. It's more of that open play when they dive into a breakdown. Love your platform, still proudly Namibian. And yeah, fair play to Namibia in this game. Yes, they weren't able to get themselves any points on the board, but there were still moments where they were extremely close to scoring. They are still chasing their first ever Rugby World Cup victory. It's going to be one of the games in this competition, I believe, up against Uruguay. I think it will be very interesting to see how it goes. Nice one with your usual great commentary, Hamish. Have a rest day, or have a great day down in the south. We have to get I predict the score correct. An awesome commentary, thank you, sir, says Paul. And ABs are rubbish, says Ja. And also we have got there, I know you're impartial, but do the woo, says Caitlin there as well. But Ethan de Groot, he's going to be the player out of this whole game that made the biggest mistakes. Yes, Ofa Tuangafasi and Nepo Lalala both gave away 3 penalties or so each and also got themselves dropping the ball quite often. But Ethan de Groot will be the player who will not be playing in the near future. We have got there, Uruguay will win easily, says Fifi. I wouldn't guarantee that. At the end of the day, this is actually what happened the last time that these two sides went head-to-head. The Uruguayans only sneaking that win by 8 points. So I think it's going to be a closer game than some anticipate, and hopefully it will be very entertaining one. Silly boy, Ethan de Groot. Thanks, Hamish, says Brian. We have got there as well, sensational commentary, says Etta. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated for you being here in the chat. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I should also mention, I never mention this, but if anyone has Instagram, we have a Kiwi Lads Instagram. I have never shouted it out other than maybe once in the past. I probably should mention it more. I think it's got about 30 followers, no posts, but anyone who wants to follow us on Instagram for when we do start posting on there, it is _Kiwi_lads. If you want to flick us a message on there, I will be replying to absolutely all of them. So yeah, if you want to talk about what's happened in this game, talk about your predictions of what is happening throughout the World Cup, that is a good option. So be sure to check that out if you have got an Instagram. And yeah, you just want a different way being able to chat about the games and whatnot. They will lose, says Sandra. And also, cheers, bro, says Aaron. And also, Uruguay rested their main players for that game. The team that play France is another beast, says Fifi. And also, we have got there, just say my name again. Is it Venita, if I pronounce that correctly? Hopefully. Our Spot fans are insufferable on this live stream, says Grant in there. And thank you for the commentary, says Cornet. And also, Lester Whananuku was massive, says Stephen Marks. And there as well, on awesome commentary, will you be on tomorrow for the Island game? We certainly will. We will be on for every single match of this Rugby World Cup. So we've got 3 games back to back to back tomorrow. We'll show you guys the schedule. Someone asked what my name is. My name is Hamish. There we go. These are the games that are coming up in the near future. One moment, I'm about to sneeze. I have sneezed, and I feel better now. And told you it would be a mess game, says Charles. And as usual, great commentary, well done. But yeah, the 3 games taking place tomorrow. Samoa versus Chile, Wales versus Portugal, as well as Ireland versus Tonga. We are going to be covering all 3 of those games alongside South Africa versus Romania, Australia versus Fiji, and England versus Japan. The game's taking place on the Sunday. We have got there, I only have YouTube and Roof Needs Mod. Thanks for the commentary, Hamish. Namibia, good fight. And come back stronger, rugger, says Audio. And there's Hamish got IG. Yeah, I completely forget about it, to be honest. I've almost forgotten that we have a Kiwi Lads Instagram. But I should probably post on it. So yeah, anyone who does want to follow us, if you got an Instagram, check it out. The _Kiwi_lads. The Kiwi Lads was taken, sadly, so we had to put the underscores. And also we have got there, in the chat, AB's from the Philippines, says Lucas Plays. And also we've got there, Chile going to feel some soreness tomorrow, says Audio there. And Kiwi Time, says Charles. At the moment, these games are in Kiwi Time, which does mean that if you're in South Africa, you add 2 hours and then put a PM rather than an AM. So that last game, Ireland Tonga, will be kicking off at night time, 9 PM. For that one, and that was fun, says Gerard. And also we have got there, or Gerard, sorry, I should say. And also we have got there, Johan's not happy about New Zealand's performance, I believe that is. And the Brute has been out of form last few games. Need to practice tackling around the ankles. Should be 1-on-1 tackle. If you can't do it, then you should learn at training. Thanks, Namibia, for being brave. South Africa, thanks, Hamish, says Goldberg. And there as well. But yeah, plenty more games of this Rugby World Cup just around the corner, ladies and gents. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I see, I think 1 person followed us on Instagram, if I'm not wrong. So thank you very much to that 1 person. Anyone else who does want to follow us, the _Kiwi_lads. We will have to post on there at some stage in the future. But then I guess that can be somewhere that we give updates if anything does go wrong. Good night, Goldberg. Says, it was John and Shalom from Auckland. Says David there, so welcome in. The All Blacks, looking through at some of the possession stats, territory as well throughout this game. We did see 44% territory for the All Blacks throughout this contest. 56 in favour of Namibia, and possession throughout the first half, we did see 72% for the ABs, but in the second half, they did end up finishing the game with 61%, so a little bit more of the ball in the hands of New Zealand. What were the odds for the game? This game, I believe the All Blacks came in as... You couldn't bet on them, but I think Namibia were about $61 underdogs or something along those lines. And cheers, Hamish, thanks for the podcast. Cheers, Charles, no worries at all, but we did see 195 metres made by the Namibians, 639 metres carried by the All Blacks, and then defenders beaten, 43 defenders beaten for the All Blacks throughout this game, 9 offloads compared to the none that we saw from Namibia. The line-out was somewhere that Namibia did struggle, though. They did lose 30% of their own line-outs, which helped the ABs get that little bit more of the ball. Namibia can challenge the other countries in Africa. Cannot, says Rivanu. And also we've got there in the chat, thanks, Hamish, says Grant. And also, cheers, amigo, says Flesh in there. 3 games in a row. They have multiple red and yellow cards. Ouch, says Paul Henry. And how many South Africans on the site? Go the Bok, says Gary Smith. I think we almost at times throughout this live stream had more South Africans watching than New Zealanders, which was interesting. Jerry Bro for your cast, says Ronnie. But we will be covering that Springboks versus Romania game just around the corner as well, ladies and gents. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But thank you all very much for tuning in. And I guess we will see you all tomorrow night. Chile versus Samoa. Wales versus Portugal. And the other game, which is Ireland versus Tonga. My brain is just rugby at the moment. I forget what day it is. I thought it was Friday today. Turns out it is... Oh, it's actually still Friday for some of you guys, though. So I guess that makes sense a little bit more. And great game, ABs. A few things to work on. But I like the look of Roy Gunn and McKenzie in the 23 CC. They actually worked quite nicely together. And also, it's a pity that you cannot join the Curry Cup competition, earn you additional revenue and assist with development, and still proud to be a Namibian. Yeah, Namibia, throughout this Rugby World Cup, they have still shown a huge amount of heart, and I'm hoping that in the future, that Namibia can continue to grow in the rugby world. Cheers, Hamish, nice commentating, says Dark Scar Flame. But where's the OnlyFans link, bro? I do not have an OnlyFans, Marco. It hasn't really been requested a lot other than from yourself, but yeah. I don't even know. I don't post on Instagram, so let alone on an OnlyFans thingamabob. I feel like the thing is I wouldn't know what to post on it. Island 48, Tonga 12 says, Jimmy, next time bring the suit, because now our boy Ethan can watch from the side. But that's a 2-week ban at least, says Audio. Yeah, so he's decided that he wants to take the games off before the quarterfinals, and Kiwi Lad's doing a fantastic job, says a roof there. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And I will see you all for the next live stream between Samoa and Chile. Also, in 27 minutes' time, we've got our video for Fiji and Australia's lineups for their contest when they go head-to-head. So be sure to check that out as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Appreciate you all being here. And we will see you all for